hopefully we're live now and people can see it. You know what I mean? Even everybody, and well, welcome back. We've not been live for about 3 weeks because with COVID and whatnot, and I lost my hair, and that's why I've got these things on. I'm not trying to land a plane, but it's good to be back. And we're back with a slight change to tonight's lineup. Unfortunately, Nadine and Lou can't make it, but we'll have set another date with Lou, so you will be seeing her shortly in the future. But we do have Jacqueline Dixon for Paranormal
Hello.
Path and Mr. Tim Johnson from Ghosted UK. Now, these two are friends, but they've not spoke for a while.
Well, we kind of met through Para Unity,
Yeah,
didn't we?
yeah.
So
We've been, we're definitely. We have to join up one time, won't we? They do an event or something.
oh, definitely, yeah.
With COVID and the lockdown, I don't think anyone. Well, we certainly didn't go. Our team went anywhere really, bits and pieces, but I sort of getting back into the travelling now for them.
Yeah, that's it.
They're getting old now. They certainly wouldn't
These late nights are killing me, though. Dear me.
They certainly wouldn't do the camping like you. I heard about your camping trip. Rob, keep me updated.
You can't beat a good camping trip, isn't that right, Jacqueline?
Hey, it's all right. It's good. So it's the best way to get grounded, isn't it?
And it's cheaper. You see the price of a caravan? Yeah, hire a caravan. It's like £300 for a weekend.
Mine was 400 and should have been 1,300.
You know what I mean? You know, a lot cheaper off. We always get the electric pitch, and it works out about £40-50 for a weekend. So you know, it's a bit of a no-brainer. You know?
It's all right if our summers were actually warm in the evening.
Well, we have had good weather up here for about a week and a half now. With a couple of wee days, it's been a bit chilly, but I will confess I have had the shorts on, and I'm not apologising. It's not a pretty sight, but you know, I'm not apologising. But I have adventured outside with shorts on in Scotland.
I've got the shorts on now.
Well, there you go. I mean, you're in England. You always get the good weather. You know.
It's April. It's April to September shorts weather.
Well, I've seen.
Yeah, even in snow.
You can turn the heating off.
He's got the heating and a hoodie on.
Yeah, you're from the south, though, aren't you?
Tim no like the cold very. Look at bless him. Look, he's freezing. Yeah. Don't come to Scotland then.
We used to travel to places and that was so cold, right? We used to spend about an hour there and go, sod this, I'm going.
There's Laura's house. Laura's part of her team. She was working, but she's made it on time, so that's that's good stuff. So, who's going first? What have you been up to? Ladies first, actually. What have you been up to, Jacqueline?
Oh, just investigating out and about. Yeah, I've kind of been meeting up with a lot of people. Which is
That's my dog. Oi! Sorry.
Not mine. I'm sleeping. This month I've been to Matlock Pavilion twice with a lot of different people. Just mixing with groups. I've got my own booking tomorrow night at Matlock Pavilion. So there's only like 12 of us going, but from like a few teams, and I've got Brian Holloway going along as well. And Spirit and Wandering Spirits. So it's quite a few going, and there's 2 birthdays to celebrate. So they won't be watching the show. So yeah, we're celebrating 2 birthdays as well. So it should be a good night.
A wee bit of right. Hey, Gail's in our team as well. Gail says hello. She made it as well. You see, there's 12 going. See, I know you go to a lot of events and stuff. Do you think? I mean, I've spoke to people in the past, and there's Craig. He's part of us as well. Everybody's coming in with Elizabeth and Patty. Hey, Patty, though. Patty is with Paranormal Exposures that we were out with on Tuesday night.
Oh, brilliant. I saw some of that.
see these events. I've spoke to people, Mark Edgerton and what have you, and he's always said that maybe you get events and maybe 30 people go, but he feels that's too much,
Yeah,
too many,
right.
for an investigation. What's your thoughts on that? Just when you mentioned the events.
The problem is when you're paying hundreds for a location, I cannot afford to book it on my own. So, I also want to do live feeds. Other people want to do live feeds. And sometimes on the normal events, you go along and you've got to do table tipping, you've got to do the board, and you stand in groups with people who've never done it before. And you kind of want to do something to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
So you want direct spirit interaction. I do mediumship as well. So, I want communication on that level. And I don't always want beeping things and things like that. I've got my own way of wanting to do things. So what I do is book a location, and then people can go off in twos, whatever. They're all trusted people. The people I know, I've met them on Facebook, but I've investigated with all of them. And we'll just go into a little corner, do our own thing, basically. If people want us to do a live, do that. And it's just a chance to try experiments. And if you want to do an experiment with everyone involved, with a handful involved, we can do that. And we just try and get what we can out of the night.
Actually, we've never done events. It's something we were going to look at away last year, but we didn't. We kind of scrapped the idea. It's just always I spoke to different people and they say, "Oh, I was at an event the other night and there was like 35 people there, but
Yeah.
it was too much and what have you." And then I've spoke to people who the other side of the coin. I says that I went to an event, there was 10 people there and it was fantastic. So I was kind of wondering, is there a
You've got different events for different people. Like you've got the larger events companies, they deal with newbies, they've never been to an event before. People get dragged along as well and don't want to be there. And it's that step into the paranormal, and it's great. And I sometimes go on those just to get in a location. But at the same time, you try and get what you can out of it. But I don't particularly want to do something like table tipping or Ouija with people I don't know, because people mess around with it and they push things.
I can be
And they
easily
mess about.
manipulated. Hi, William. He's half a paranormal exposure, so we were out with the other night.
Brilliant.
He's over here, and him and his wife Kat and the Revens over here on holiday from Iowa. I always think they're from Ohio. I don't know why. I've got Ohio in my head every time. But William actually hails from the same part of Glasgow as me, which, but he moved to America about 10, 11 years ago, so he says hi. So Tim, what you been up to, apart from freezing?
Oh. Yeah, we've been doing private investigations, houses and whatever. We've done one, the team done one yesterday, not an investigation. It's more like, how do you say it? Just sort of seeing if there's anything there. There's no point doing an investigation unless there's a possible cause of, something being haunting the house. So we do a little questions and write a few things, do tests to see if there's a possible, haunting there. So we've done that, but that is going to be a proper investigation soon. So because you can get to these places where I know people that take all their gear and they're all set up for doing an investigation because someone phoned them and said, "I think my house is haunted," and there's nothing there. So you just wasted the whole night with all your gear, all the CCTV and all the rest of it, and there's actually nothing. So that's what you do, like a bit like an interview, find out what's going on, and do a few tests and bits and pieces and see what's there first, because it just saves a lot of time and hassle. So doing that.
you get people who think their house is haunted. It's actually their central heating pipes or something that's making a noise.
Yes, yeah, you get all sorts.
You know,
We've-
so it
we've been
happens.
to-
It happens at the same time every night. So it must be
Yeah.
a spirit. Say, well, what time's your heating set for? Oh, 9 o'clock.
Some
Right,
people are
you know.
lonely. Some people are lonely. Some people, they just need the attention. Some just, need a doctor's help than our
Yeah,
help.
that's the one. Yeah.
We didn't just walk away. We'll if they are having serious problems, then we'll try and contact it through them, through a relative, to see that they're all right. We didn't just go, oh, you're crazy, and just walk out. We're not like that, because some people do have mental health problems, but actually the house is actually haunted. We've had that before, where someone suffering from severe depression and whatever, and we found out that the actual place is haunted. So you get the two, mixed. But on this occasion, I can tell you a little bit. They were singing and doing recordings, and they actually captured an EVP through that, and that shocked them. And they lived in the property long, so that's why they asked us to pop along to see what's going on. And there's something going on, so we're going to investigate it. That's as far as I can tell at the moment. But, yeah.
But you're right what you're saying. If you go to a house and it's no haunted, it's the person maybe has got some. I hate the word mental illness, but you can't just say, right, there's no ghost here, so we're away. There is some other way that you can't, whether it's contacting a relative or a care worker, or whatever the case is.
It can be a like I've had it before, where they have got problems, but the actual we've investigated people with I can explain. I'm trying to get the right word here. The special needs, and they were not too sure whether the carers whether we should investigate it or not, and then they're saying there's something here and we said no, we'll investigate it if they don't mind. We don't, to see if there's anything there first, obviously, and by doing a few some tests, bits and pieces, and it was actually haunted. So we went back and done a full investigation, and because they've got special needs don't mean they're not having a haunting. There's no exception, there's not an exception to the rule, so and sometimes that's causing more. Hello.
Hello,
Van.
Oh, hello.
And sometimes.
How are you doing?
Surprise!
Yay! Oh,
And sometimes that's
1 minute. For some reason, it's coming out double.
okay. Yeah, sometimes it's like you're trying to, Can she hear us?
Can you hear us, boy?
Hello.
she's
You got your
turned
mic
yeah.
muted. Sorry. Oh no.
She's muted herself.
Oh,
Oh, there she
hello.
is there.
Yeah, she is.
Right, Jacqueline, I know you and Vaughn are friends, and so I was talking
Yeah.
to Vaughn a few days ago, I think, and I said that you were coming on, and it'd be a really nice surprise if she just kind of.
I've been chatting to her today about something, but yeah, cool.
So I tell her come in at 9:15, so she just kind of pops up. So there she's there.
Hello.
Laura, she's Melissa's Laura's daughter. They're part of her team. She's the PEI babysitter. So Melissa watches the wee one when we're away out investigating, But it works out good. So thanks for coming in, Vaughn.
You're welcome. You're
Glad to
welcome.
see you.
I'm glad to see Jacqueline's face.
Hey.
Hi, Tim.
Hiya. Hey, I was trying to sound. I felt something, either sound or something to go on bottle because your little mic popped up.
Yeah, I didn't know what I was doing, to be honest.
Oh, bless
That's
you.
all right.
Sorted.
It's worked.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
good enough.
I forgot what I was saying now.
You was talking, Tim. You was talking about. Oh God, it's gone out. of my
That's
mind
got
now.
you now.
I was listening.
Residential hauntings and
That's
stuff, isn't
catching.
it? Okay.
That's right.
Yeah, yeah. You know, if you're doing a private investigation, like a house investigation, you always do like a little interview and see what the people are like, see if there's anything there. I can't see the point in Google. I've seen people wade in with an full investigation. Oh, that's dramatic. We got to go, and they got you don't advertise, put it that way. Just keep it quiet.
Yeah.
Don't want the neighbours to know either, because that's private, it's personal, it's confidential. As someone's property. Then you got private stuff with things they talk about. So that's all kept.
It is so
quiet.
different, though, isn't it? Going into
Pardon?
someone's house, going into
Yes.
someone's house is so different.
Yeah,
It kind of. Oh, yeah. I've got
And they're
two
scared.
too, actually. Hey.
they're scared, so you got to give them
Yeah.
make them feel that. I say at ease as you can, because they're petrified. Things
That's
are going on in the
right.
house, and they don't understand it. They're not like us lots would understand a bit about paranormal and bits and bobs and stuff, whatever. But they're like ain't got a clue about it. They're like, something's going on in this house, and I don't like it.
Yeah.
And that's frightening me. I can't sleep. Some people, and I've had with investigations where the families actually moved out of the property because they're that scared that the kids and all just they took them out, move away for a little while till we sorted the case out.
Yeah. I think a lot of paranormal investigators play at it, though. Like, they use it as a free ghost hunt rather than actually go in and do what they should do.
Yeah, it's just no, it's not. It's
No,
not.
and
It's
it's
different.
shocking, isn't it, when people do that?
If they do it, it's that's just
They
crazy.
Use it for, they use it to get noticed. Now, Tim, you've done a few of these private. We've never done one to this day. I don't know if we ever will or not. Who knows? But to get into somebody's house and cleanse it or whatever you want to call it, I would think you need a fair bit of experience behind you.
Yeah.
To do it.
Yes, definitely. Yes, definitely. I mean, I think you definitely need quite a bit of experience and stuff, because if you get it wrong, you could make make it worse. Number one,
That's right.
and then you're not going to give them much confidence in what a paranormal investigator does. That they're going to think, what a complete crank, which some people have. Then you've had certain people go in there charging them £100 or whatever, stayed half an hour and said they've cleansed it and walked out. They didn't even move from the front room.
Yeah.
A lot of that go on.
Mm-hmm.
We've even had come across cases where mediums, obviously, it's a sort of thing I can talk about, but not too much. But mediums, someone went to see a medium and they've turned around to him, and they've sort of basically persuaded them to commit suicide.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, that's bad. And
Oh, my God.
we know of it because we heard the recording. Someone recorded it. So that had to go to the police. That's as far as I can say on the matter on that one. But you get, it's crazy. And how they were trying to get away with it, I didn't know. So you get a lot of flack. We've been to, they've tried different people to come in, and they charged me £100, and then they just buggered off after 30 minutes. So then you got to deal with the prejudice of that, and try and sort, if there is a problem there, obviously, know, and try and find out what's going on, and then try and cleanse the place, you know, try and clear of any things that they don't want, you know. Then you've got all sorts of cases where they might have a family member that we believe is there, so, and something that shouldn't be there. So you've got to clear one and keep the other.
Yeah.
So that's difficult. There's a certain way we do it, but that's not easy, and there's no guarantee. I mean, we've been lucky after all this time, we've been 100% success rate, and we had a comeback. But we do back them up if, say, 2 years down the line, they go, "Oh, this all kicked off again. Can you come in back?" Our team would go back in again. We don't just leave it, you know, and go, "No, I can't be bothered with that," you know. We have to go back and, you know.
Yeah, you've got to sort it out.
Yeah, it's a long going thing. In some cases as well, they can be, you know, quite a while. Not just one or two trips. Can go on a while. And to a case where one case that was getting you know, a vicar in and doing, you know, like I don't know, the person as well. You can get people who've got attachments to them, so you've got all that to deal with. Yeah, it's.
I've had that issue.
I've had that issue as well.
You got that to sort out, and it's not easy. You got to decide on whether, you know, their well-being is to an attachment, and it doesn't do no harm to do, you know, to give a person a cleansing, and then if that still doesn't solve the problem, and then go the other way and to say, well, their well-being's not good, you know, they've got problems, or they could be connected. So you've got to try all different things to try and help that. At the end of the day, all that help the people. I mean, one lady said, she said to me, what made me quite interesting, she said, "I'm not being bullied by some bloody spirit in my house. I'm not having it." Because she felt she was being bullied, you know, mischief and playing her up and things like that. And she said, "I'm not being bullied. I want my house to be, you know, a loving one, you know, feeling when you get home. You know, you don't want to be hassled all night and playing you up and switching your telly off and rattling the saucepans in the kitchen." You know, you don't. So, yeah, it's quite interesting.
Basically, I mean, that's what I was saying about the experience side. That there's a lot of strings to it. You know, it's not just a simple case of getting into somebody's house and saying, right, it's haunted, you know, and getting the spirit to it. You know, it's not just a case of doing that. And the other thing I found is some tales, I'm not going to name anybody, but if they're bored or they've ran out of ideas, they'll say, you know, right, let's go and do houses. You know, I've found some teams will do that, and it's for the totally wrong reasons, and they don't have a clue what they're doing when they get to a house. You know, and people, I might get shot down for this one. I don't know, but cleansing a house is one thing. Teaching people how to clean it is another. Exactly. Patty, totally spot on. You know, at the end of the day, it's down to the spirit whether they want to leave or not.
That's right.
You know, it's you gotta be like, you gotta be. I think you gotta be true to yourself. You gotta be a certain genuine person to start with.
Yeah.
Look at me. No, you have got to be a genuine soul, because I think that's important. I think that's why we captured a lot of EVPs, because I think they would trust us. You know, they think, oh, they're all right. You know, we'll talk to them. Because if they're not, if you're a complete a-hole, then you know, and starts being aggressive and stuff and taking the mickey, you know, that's the complete wrong way of going about it. You know, and you ain't going to get nowhere. They you know, it's more mischief than it starts. But it's a, and my suspicious when people start charging for investigations and cleansing and stuff like that. That's all right. You know, if someone say, you know, oh yeah, here's a bottle of wine. Oh, that's been fantastic. Thank you very much, and give you a bottle of wine
Yeah, fair enough.
or you know, little things like that. That's acceptable. We have been offered like, but mostly I say to him, you know, if you know a cup of tea and a biscuit, that'll do me. Because even the other night we had people saying, "How much do you charge?" I said, "No, oh, I'll give you some money." No, I don't want them. Just tea and biscuits will do. Sometimes, you know, we've had people buy us a bottle of wine or something like that. You know, things like that. That's fine. That don't matter. You know, you don't want to offend them. Not that I ever see the wine, Natasha, ever. You know, the girls get, but you know, that's a nice gesture, and we say, okay, you know, that's fine, that isn't a problem. But no money change hands because it's just not right. I just think, what are you doing it for? What are you doing it for? Are you doing it for the money, or are you doing it to help people? You know,
I don't believe it's different. Maybe if you've travelled, you know, like say if we went down to, not that we would ever do it anyway. We went down to a house in London, for example. You know, obviously we're up in Kilmarnock in Scotland, and it's costing maybe £100 fuel wise. You know, if somebody says, you know, I'll pay you, say, well, no, if he gives something towards the petrol, maybe £10, £20 towards petrol. Maybe, maybe in that case, you know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think we got to be sensible, you know. But you know, it's some. What was that?
Shouldn't be about profit. It should be about sharing knowledge and the love of the paranormal.
Right.
Exactly.
Something I heard something then.
Oh wow!
Did you hear it?
I heard a bang. That
Okay.
banging noise.
Yeah, I heard
Through
something
the ears,
happen or shuffling or something. I don't know.
It's about 25 minutes.
Okay.
We're watching this one, isn't it?
Sorry about that. I heard something rustling. I'd normally
Before you face
go again. Who was that?
Patty heard it as well. I never heard anything.
Okay.
Wow,
Don't know then.
that's cool.
So, Vaughan,
Yes.
first time we've met you, doll. I know we've spoke about comments and stuff. AJ Walker saying heard a bang as well. So something's in your house, Tim. You are
Doesn't
a couple
surprise me. Doesn't surprise me.
Couple
Because
of
you've
fishes
got
then,
house
is it?
legends and stuff, something's turned up. That's what it is.
We get it a lot. We get stuff all the time here. It's just
You've jinxed yourself. Mick saying his belly's rumbling.
my belly's rumbling. Yeah,
Hey,
that's
27
not. A belly rumble is normally someone's. Normally, a belly rumble is normally something that people go on an EVP. That's a growl. We got some evil demon. That's probably someone's stomach on.
Yeah.
They make some
really
really terrifying
noises. On
noises.
the demon side here. So anyway, Void, welcome, doll. First time we've met face to face, or camera to camera. Tell us a bit about yourself.
Yeah.
We'll put you on the spot. Who are you and what do you do? What show was that off of? That was off a TV show, wasn't it? Who are you and what do you do? Do you remember?
No, I'm not that
Can't
old.
remember.
I'm not that old as
No,
either.
I can't remember.
Who are you and what do you do? Where are you from? Never mind, doesn't matter. Tell us a wee bit about yourself, boy.
Without boring anybody.
Oh, I don't.
I've been into the paranormal in one way or another since being very young. My main thing that got me into it was when I've seen two full apparitions. So I always knew there was something, but we weren't allowed to talk about it or anything in our family. So I just went my own way. And later on, I've been going with other teams for quite a long time, but mainly small teams. I've had my own group now for, it'll be about 6 years in total.
Wow.
I'd just like to stay quiet, do my own thing, enjoy watching everybody else's, meeting other people.
You want to plug
That's
your
me,
group?
really.
What's the name of your group? Plug your group.
All right then, Matrix Paranormal UK.
Give it a look up, folks. Matrix Paranormal UK. So, how did you and Jackie cross paths?
I used to do shows for Haunted Antiques Paranormal Research Centre channel,
That's right, yeah.
and I used to watch a lot of the shows, and I don't know, I kind of then moved over to doing it on my page, and then we sort of met, and yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, it was one of
well,
the-
we started doing mediumship lessons together. I think,
Yeah.
I taught you into it, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah, my God.
Well, I
yeah,
used to do it at Spiritualist Church.
yeah, but
I
then,
used to go, but then I stopped going because all they wanted to do was get you up on the rostrum, and that's not my thing.
yeah,
So I just sort of developed myself, and then went along to development with Jacqueline.
yeah, because Barry John was
Like-
doing Zoom lessons
Yeah.
during the lockdown, so yeah, they were good. You know, they kept you going, and like, don't even
They were
know how
great.
often was it. You know,
Develop-
it gave us some
Developing your
experience.
trade, developing the trade, all sort of thing.
Yes, Jacqueline uses
Mhm.
hers more than I do. I tend to,
You're brilliant at it.
well, you say
You're
that,
great,
but
you need
I
more
prefer to
confidence.
keep myself to myself with it. I
No,
like
but you're good at it.
I like to see what I never used to believe it, where now I do believe it, but I just keep a lot of it to myself. I know what I see, I know what I experience, and I know what's true and what's not true. And I've learned who a lot of the genuine people are.
Oh, bless you.
Oh, blessed
Yeah.
AJ.
We'll give you a
Eh?
tenner later.
Yeah.
Tenner, is that it? A tenner?
I've got a dodgy Scottish one upstairs. Don't know what to do with it.
I've got some left.
Don't say that. Don't say a dodgy.
Send it up here,
Scott.
Jackie. I'll sort
You look
it out
after
for you.
it.
I'll
AJ Walker is actually from like a team, because I'm on my own.
I'm on my
And-
own-ish. Well,
and
sort of.
AJ is as well in Wings Paranormal. And we go out quite a lot together, and we meet up with Jacqueline as well.
Yeah.
So it's nice. It's sort of like team sharing, isn't it?
I think we're about 30 miles
That's
different,
really
aren't
nice.
we?
Yeah.
Kind of meet about an hour.
You'd be
Yeah.
you'd be good for our team, because what I prefer. That's that my thing. That's my headphones at the time. Is quiet, listen,
Yes.
and watch.
It doesn't always end up like that, though. Our last investigation, it never
Fair
stopped from beginning to end.
No, it was.
That's what I prefer. Quiet and just
I
silence.
laid
Well,
back.
So I can hear.
Yeah.
See.
That's another reason that I book the locations as well, because you can do what you like.
Yeah.
So, you know, with people all being experienced, they can go in their corner and get the noisy gadgets out. And yeah, I did have a noisy gadget fun. We went to this railway cottage, which has done the
I-
rounds and quite a lot been
I know
there.
what you were saying earlier, and I think what I heard over the years is people going, and they've got a small building, an event, as not very big place, and they pour off like 50 people in there, and you're like sardines,
Oh,
and you can't
Standard.
even move, and they move you from one room to the other, and you're like sardines, like 50 people pouring in.
Yeah,
And you know, everyone, there'll be someone talking, there'll be someone moving, that's what I've heard back. People complain about it, but like you're saying, some, if you know the people and you know where to keep quiet and to make sure you know where everyone is, they can be quite good and keep the numbers down.
that's right. You know, I split the cost between the number of people, basically.
I think
to
these
cover the
events,
charge, and then I cover the insurance separately.
I know these properties want to make a living, but some of them extortionate.
Yeah.
I speak to quite a few events people, and they said they're extortionate. You know, they
Hey,
want
Wayne.
1,500 quid for one little place. 1,500 quid for one little place. So they put the cost onto the people.
Not got mine yet.
Hi,
I
Wayne.
looked it up.
Oh, instead of letter. Hang on. Hello, everyone.
Let me have to grab-
What you got there?
Look, it's just arrived.
Job done.
The latest
Oh,
Wayne
right.
Stevens book. Yeah.
Oh, right.
I haven't seen him advertise it yet, and I want a signed copy, please, Wayne.
Like rub your fingers. Oh, no,
Everybody
I'll
wants
start
a
on
signed
the ball,
copy
I'll
of it.
wait
Everybody wants a signed copy. I was looking at a place last year up here, and they wanted £1,200 for 3 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
We've got a place in Nottingham called the National Justice Museum, and it's a great big building, and that's at least £1,000. And and then you look at East Drive as well,
Won't
and
pay it.
I think are you restricted to about 10 people as well? And it's like 400 and whatever.
Aye,
Wow.
per night, and it's used 7 nights a week.
Exactly.
These drives,
And
I mean,
days. And
you know.
days.
£400, 7 nights a week.
If Andrew was on here, he'd mention about 30 East Drive. Trust me.
I've
That'd
never
be
been.
I know exactly what he'd say.
It's just down the road from. Well, it's not too far down the road from me, and I wouldn't go. It doesn't interest me at all.
On Andrew's opinion, is it's something that happened years ago. Yeah, it probably did happen. There's no
Yeah.
doubt about it. But he'll say if you go there, you probably might as well just go down to the fish and chip shop and investigate that. You'll probably get more activity.
Yeah, but you know, to me, the spirits are everywhere. Okay, the spirits everywhere. So you generally go in a house, there might be something there. They might be passing through. If you're a medium, you know, they might be attracted because they think, oh, what are they doing? So they might just call in, things like that, or it might be land. Or it could be your relatives with you. So, yeah, people who actually go to East Drive, they might actually be picking up their relatives rather than...
People could be taking spirits there when they go to
Yeah,
investigate.
that's what I mean, yeah.
Or drop them off here.
Yeah. Because my mum and dad sort of go to events with me. They turned up at cinema with theatre with me. The medium picked up on them, and that was a bit freaky. But yeah, I'm used to that now.
We've had a team go down there and
it's-
investigate it, and they said there was nothing. They didn't get nothing. They said there was nothing. Not a spoon.
I've spoke to a few people that have done East Drive. We had the chance to do it last year, but it was GSI were going on the Wednesday night. They get the chance to do it for free. And John for GSI phoned me on the Monday, and he says, "Listen, mate, do you want to come down, do East Drive this Wednesday?" But it was, school week. It was we couldn't get babysitters, etc. And I said, "There's no chance we can do it. Too short notice." So I was I wanted to go just for the experience of being there to see, because I'm kind of 50-50 on East Drive. I dare say there was something there before, but
Yes.
now I don't know. I'm
I
not
think it's been
Yeah.
But
over-investigated.
there is
I
a
really
monastery
do.
nearby.
There's a
There is a
lot of-
monastery, isn't there? There's a monastery nearby.
I mean, it's supposed to
That'd
be.
probably be more interesting.
Exactly. So the fact that they see a monk, it's just probably one of them just thinking, oh,
yeah.
they've got something going on. Let's have a nosy.
Well, I've done the working man's club just down the road, and that is haunted. And we
Yeah.
didn't even have to pay for that.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Definitely. It's like
I feel
hyped, like most places, they're hyped to ridiculous, and there's nothing, That place has been cleansed as well.
Oh, that was so funny. I'm sorry.
They ain't supposed to cleanse it, and apparently I had a few mediums who went and cleansed it. Apparently,
That was quite funny. That was. I don't know if it helped.
You've heard that, have you?
Yeah, I did. It was, yeah.
But that's a good point. I mean, Vaughan said it's been over-investigated. There's two things I want to talk about just there. It's over-investigated. Now, this might sound stupid, but then I'm Scottish, so it'll probably make sense to me. Do you think that a place can be over investigated that spirit just gets fed up?
Well, I would.
Yeah,
You know.
I would.
I would.
Yeah, why not? That's just
I realise that when I go investigating, because wherever you go, you think, oh my gosh, you arrive, I feel that they're all watching you thinking, well, what are this lot going to be like? And we're like their entertainment for the night as well. Because
Yeah.
we arrive and we're asking the same dumbass questions as the last group. And, they weigh you up, I think, for a bit, thinking, oh, what are these people like? And then you just come out with the same questions, don't you?
They're the same as last night,
Yeah.
if that was me, I'd just wind you up. You see, so I'd just say, sort of tell you something you might want to hear, but it's not true, just to wind you up.
Yeah.
I like
Exactly.
Have some of that.
I always say, I've always said from
We-
day
we
one
just-
that spirits is the exact same as us, except they don't have a physical body. But everything else we take with our sense of humour, personality, whatever you want to call it, we take it with us. So
Oh,
if you
God,
were a
yeah.
joker in this life, you'll be a joker on the other side.
Yeah.
And if somebody's coming in night after night asking, is there anybody there? Are you male or female? What? Yeah, do you know what? I'm fed up with this. I'm going to wind him up and
Yeah.
just have a laugh.
I would.
I caught an EVP. I caught an EVP once. Boo, because I was sort of. This was a long while ago, and they're like, I go in, there's something, I was going, something over here, definitely something over here. And I listened back on the camera, and that went, boo, because I looked so nervous I must have been crapping myself. That was pitch black. This is a long while ago. And some must have thought it was funny. I wanted to just go boo, but I didn't hear it, unfortunately, only on the camera afterwards. I've been called all the names under the sun, I'll tell you that.
Well,
I
You
like to go
bonk,
to places
idiot,
that are not
bonk.
investigated as much.
Aye,
think
exactly.
better.
That's what we're doing this year. We've got a list of different locations that haven't been investigated. No big, massive locations, or just small ones that haven't been investigated before. Because as Jack Green says earlier, on, anywhere can be haunted.
Yeah.
People tend to think that it's going to be a castle or a graveyard or something like that that's haunted, but a brand new Morrison's could be haunted.
well, that's
Yeah.
right, yeah.
It's the ground.
They certainly follow me around when I go anywhere. Trust me.
Ground Morrison's,
Oh,
aye.
God.
I've had the whole rack of fruit and veg go on the floor in a big supermarket before. As I walk past, all the racks, the whole lot. I went on, and I couldn't explain how they all felt. There were racks like that, thing, and stuff was put in it. I wish I'd have then went to get the CCTV, but they didn't have any then.
Oh, wow.
There
Yeah.
weren't any, but the whole lot just went.
Didn't leg it.
And I turn around and thought, shogger, they're
Wasn't me.
never going to get billed for this lot. Off I go. Go, quick. I didn't
You're
explain
just a-
before.
You're just a jinx, Tim, that's what it is. You're just a jinx.
Yeah, and you go in the soup, it probably is a jinx more than anything else, and you're going along and we've had stuff just come flying off the shelf. What the hell is that? Uh-oh, they're off. And
shit.
things like that.
It
all
made me
sorts of
never
strange
go
things.
to Morrison's with you. So, I mean, you mentioned earlier on about the height. Some places are hyped up to, the high heavens,
Yeah.
having fun, whatever. And you go and there's nothing. That's happened to us at Greyfriars. We've
Oh.
investigated there a few times before we found out that they're actually banned. And, we love it. It's a beautiful place. We've
It
been
is.
so many times, but we've never ever got anything in Greyfriars.
Yeah.
Um,
I think it's.
I
Hey,
love
stop.
grey fryers.
I was going to say,
It's
just.
very-
Sorry, go on.
No, I was just saying Scott's very lucky with everywhere they've got to investigate. I love Scotland. It's amazing.
Yeah, I
It's a beautiful
do.
country. It's a beautiful country. Greyfriars
It
is.
is.
We've been in Greyfriars. So I don't know, the last 4 or 5 years I've been going to Greyfriars, and it must be at least a couple of hundred times now. Every time we go to Edinburgh, we've done a lot and get filming and stuff with Jamie Christopher as well in Greyfriars, but it's one of these places you just find you get certain places that you're just drawn to, that you always want to go to, and when you get there, you just kind of feel peaceful at home, kind of thing. What do you guys, girls, think? Do you have a place that springs to mind?
I find graveyards peaceful.
Yeah, I like my local graveyard because I've known it since I had to go to church as a child. Worded that carefully.
Just
I went-
place graveyards.
I went to a little church in Wakefield area, Heath I think it was called, and you never see anyone being there or anything, and we just went as a small group, and it's where there's six nuns buried there.
Oh wow.
And there's a gravedigger that's buried at the other side of the cemetery. Now I know there's like psychological, oh well he's a gravedigger, they're nuns sort of thing, but it isn't. One side of that cemetery is totally different to the other side. It is so calm at the side where the nuns are. It's absolutely lovely, but it's quite intimidating on the other side of it. That was a really good place to invest, and you never hear anybody investigating there. And we've got some good activity there.
That's like the place we went to the other night, Loudon Kirk, with William and Kat for Paranormal Exposures. We've been there about 5 or 6 times, and we always, every time we go, we always pick up on a little girl. There's always stuff where a little girl comes through, but there's a path goes round the outside of the perimeter of the graveyard, basically. And when you're on this path, it's a totally different feeling from when you're in the actual graveyard itself. It's all part of the same bit, but it's just this path goes round and you get a different atmosphere. In this one particular bit, as you're walking around, as soon as you get into the middle, it's a calm place, but the path, you get the feeling. Kat and William picked up on it the other night as well, that it's a kind of, you're being watched, you're being followed, that something doesn't want you there. As soon as you step into the main part of the graveyard, it feels busy. This will sound nuts. It feels busy but calm.
No, that was like the railway crash site. That was busy, wasn't it?
Yeah, that
the other night there was just like flashes at the side, like out of the corner of your eye. I didn't feel watched, but something. I'm convinced it was something that kept dismantling my tripod.
Well,
and then,
that was funny, wasn't it?
Then throw my phone at me as I turned around.
Yeah, it did. It just threw.
Just
like
flew
it was all
straight
set up and it just went, didn't it? Yeah. No, that was. But then that thing walked between you and Jan.
Yeah.
And as that happened, I turned and like just felt ice. You know what I mean? I just felt shivers down
we
the
both
spine.
did it at the same time, didn't we? It was
it's like,
awful feeling.
shivering. But yeah, that was interesting. And I used my new toy as well. Some LED strip lights.
That was good. That was.
I like them.
That was impressive. That.
Oh, well, I've got to say that.
I'll see you tomorrow night, Phil.
Cheers, Phil. Take care.
See you, Phil.
Bye, Phil. Miss you tomorrow.
When something like that happens, you do get a point. That happened to us, a location last year, the K2 meter getting knocked over. It's up on our Facebook and TikTok, the K2 getting knocked over. And it happened to us in Sherwood Forest as well. We went done Sherwood Forest with GSI last year, and we were in a part of the forest, and with a camera on the tripod. Nobody was near it, and nobody was moving. And the tripod just got knocked right out. Sarah beside it, and just bang, out it went.
It happened at Haunted Antiques as well. Gary Fields had his set up in one room, and we were all in the other room, and it just came off, no reason. Oh yeah.
Was it? Was it a small tripod or a big tripod or
Smallish. But
smallish
yeah,
one?
yeah, that's look,
Yeah,
smallish.
that's
Yeah, not a
that's
full
why
one.
I say our CCTV, our cameras are on flat bits of wood now, like
Yeah.
like ugh, like that sort of thing, and they're
Yeah.
screwed to the wood. So you're gonna have to really yank it over because they kept
Yeah.
getting pushed over all the time. So
No, it was unscrewing mine.
Oh yeah.
It was all the screws that were just coming
It was
undone.
just wrecking it, wasn't it?
So yeah, and you've got the thing of those tripods are a bit small. Some of the small ones I've had one.
Yeah.
You order, you expect a 6-foot tripod, and you get it
I've
from
got a
Wish. and
bendy one.
you get one that big.
Yeah.
And you get Wish. You wish you didn't order it from them. I've had them, and you spread them out. They're 3 little legs, and they're flimsy as hell. So I try to put the camera on it. But you've only just got to knock in it accidentally and that'll go over.
Yeah, I've got some proper ones.
How do you know it's paranormal or what, someone actually walking into one? So now they're on big flat bits of MDF now. So it's a pain in the ass, I know. But they're sort of, the chances of them going over now, it's like a miracle. But we have had them moved, admittedly, and stuff like that.
Wow.
So yeah. So they work better with the big bits of wood because I've just fed up with just seeing the cameras just going over. Fed up, it just drives you nuts because you're not all you're saying is the camera just going poop.
Yeah, but I bet you don't.
Me nuts.
I bet you don't get the camera falling on camera either, do you?
A camera falling on.
Yeah, if you've got another camera on that camera.
Oh no, not with CCTV. You can't have two
No,
cameras facing each other.
CCTV, okay.
Yeah, you can't have because you've got the IR lights.
Yeah, that's
you can't see nothing in the other camera, and that can't see that because the IR light is brighten up. Someone said to me once, "Why didn't you put the 2 cameras opposite each other?" Because you can't see that.
No.
You can't see nothing because the IR light will be bright. But if you've got a normal camera,
I'm thinking of a normal one.
Night vision's got IR on it, you see, and if you've got an angle right, if you don't, we've captured the camera going over. We've actually captured it. One of our videos, we put it on a beer barrel, so it had the rim.
Yeah.
Even if it get pushed over, it just slide over. This camera went flying off. Like a few feet away. We actually caught that on camera. And just before that, we captured a little boy or girl poking at the camera with his finger on the SLS camera.
Brilliant.
Shoving it, poking it at his finger like that. And then we said, I think Natasha said, can you give us a sign, whatever? And next minute, the camera went boom. So, yeah, that was interesting because we got, when we asked for it to happen, that happened. The SLS camera picked it up, this little child poking at this. And before that, the camera had moved before and that had been reset and checked. On the main camera, you could see that had been moved a few times. And it's not getting the view through the hallway. So we set it up again. I said, something keep touching that bloody camera. And then all that happened later. So there was a lot of evidence there that all them different things pointed to, like some genuine evidence, validates what happened in a way.
Yeah.
See, that's what I've said before as well. Cameras seem to be a favourite for spirit to play about with, turn off and what have you. We done the Ivy House. We 2 locked off cameras down the stairs, and I went down the stairs and I put a fresh battery in one of them. Back up the stairs, and we all came down about 10 minutes later, and the battery was dead and the light was off. And so we just left it, and a couple of minutes after that, the camera turned back on again, and the light came back on. There was quite a few people there that saw this. But we couldn't explain that. It was a fresh battery. about 10 minutes roughly later, it turned itself off. It was flat, and then it turns itself back on again with a full battery, and the light came on. Because we just kind of
Sometimes you got to ask
turned
permission.
around
Sometimes you ask permission, and if they'll allow it, then you shouldn't have no problems. But on other occasions, we've found that to have, which is the most, with me with evidence. My thing is to capture evidence, genuine evidence. That's my thing, to validate that there's something there. That's my thing. And the thing is, we find if you go with nothing, not a sausage, nothing, no cameras, no, you'd have a few bits of equipment, but nothing.
Yeah.
You probably capture more sometimes with that than you do with your equipment, because they just don't want to be filmed. They don't want to be recorded. They don't want. But if you're there, with nothing, you'll experience things that you'll think, wow. And at the end of the day, it's a personal thing to you to experience. That's
This
the
is
thing.
me.
That's important. That well, the good thing that you can experience these things and then go make your own mind up and go, wow, I can't believe what I heard. I can't believe what I just seen. That's amazing. And you're 100% sure that's paranormal, not your imagination.
Yeah.
And that, when you see people's faces and they're saying, we've had it before, and took a few people with us, and they said, oh my God, I can't. And some people were really shocked, like to a point. They had to go to the doctors because they were just, honestly, because they were that shocked. I think you set a rule, especially youngsters, they set a rule of thinking, yeah, it's mostly TV, paranormal, blah, 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 blah. There's nothing really going on. But once something happened to them, not in a bad way, not in experience way of hearing a voice, and there should be a voice there, their brain doesn't, it doesn't, you can't register it in your head. And when you're a youngster and you can't register things in, it does drive you nuts, because you're like, I can't explain what's going on here, and then you explain this is what it is, blah blah blah, and they still don't sort of believe what you're saying until later they come to understanding that there is more, what their beliefs are. That this lady said to her beliefs have changed since that happened. I just can't believe it.
But that's the thing.
Yeah.
You guys think. I know there's ladies on the panel. I keep saying guys, but it's a habit,
Yeah. Oh,
you get to Gail.
That might have been a guy for the night.
yeah, I'll be late. I'm late.
Oh, you behave, Tim. You're a giant son. Just you behave. Just don't you move. You just sit there and don't move.
Just scratch
You
my
can't see
bum.
what I'm doing, can you?
Scratch my bum like a lady.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah, man.
I need a
Yeah,
shave
man.
in the morning.
But I mean, Gail in our team as well as Jack. Did you take care?
Look after yourself, AJ.
Bye,
See you later, AJ.
Chat later.
We met Gail and her husband on holiday last year, and they came out with, and they'd only ever watched, like posted the paranormal shows on telly, where there's, like sinks getting thrown about and all that kind of stuff, stones getting thrown.
Ropes around the legs upstairs.
I'm not going to mention any shows, but the odd stone gets thrown off camera. Always happens off camera, And the other thing is, as soon as a stone gets thrown, they run out the door screaming.
Demons.
And it's the odd. Don't even get me started on demons ones. I tell you. No. You want to hear a Scotsman rant? Well,
Everything's demonic. Everything's demonic on TV.
Somebody farts and and it's demonic. Did you hear that? That's a demon. That was somebody farting.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's a grill. I heard that.
Yeah.
I spoke to a producer. I can't say too much because I might get a roll again. But I spoke to a paranormal show producer, and they're doing an investigation and whatever. And we checked it out. I checked it out, and there's I didn't even know that was haunted, right, or whatever. But I just thought with the history, it's a good thing. Next minute, that's freaking demonic on the program. They're all demonic.
Yeah.
And I said to the producer, I said, I don't even think it's haunted, whatever. I don't think it'd be any good, but it's got a good history. They go, we don't care. We don't care, It's a great place. We don't care. So next minute, that's gone from non-haunted to haunted to demonic in the show. It's like, what a load of rubbish. And I'm talking about one TV, 3 or 4 TV shows, quite some big TV shows the same. They're just trying to. So they said to me, "Do you think it's haunted?" And I said, "I don't know, because we ain't investigated it." They said, "Oh, it don't matter. That's a great place."
I think the one people.
Yeah, it's a joke. Yeah.
And the thing is, I mean, we can go in investigation, we go to a location, and we get a spirit that's not a happy one, a grumpy one,
Yeah.
Whatever, that's a demon. But it might not be. It might just be like, that you kind of grumpy old man who used to stay along the street.
Might be me on a bad day.
Exactly. It might just be a grump. He was grumpy in life. He'll be grumpy on the other side. But definitely a demon. It's demon. He's just not a happy chappy, basically.
It's entertainment, isn't it?
It's. I think as a religious thing. I mean, depends what you believe and all the rest of it. I think with demonic. I mean, we've never come across. We come from nasty, evil people. They might as well be bloody demons. They were nasty and horrible. But luckily, we ain't come nothing like super. People said there's something evil there and whatever, and there probably was, but whatever it was went. But it's not so everywhere we go is demonic. It's just.
I might have a photo of a demonic, actually. I think I've got a photo of a demonic.
A demonic what?
The reason. Ben Winfield. Ben Winfield's a demonologist, and Louisa. They're in Derby jail. And they have some things following them around, and I've got a photo of one of them.
And what do you mean it looks demonic?
It's kind of his sort of on the dark side sort of thing. So there is something. It's not.
What is it like? Like a devil with horns, or is it like?
It's like a creature in a way. It's hard to say.
Like
Ben's in a totally different context, though, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Ben's isn't about entertainment. Ben. I do demonology. Is studied.
They say like imps and things like that, isn't there? And
definitely not. But even he'll tell you they're very rare.
Yeah, we'd never come across any of that. I mean, not at all. I mean, but I've heard of like imps. I can't remember what the other thing is. There's something else. There's quite a few represent the demon. But then I think could that be like more religious side of it? But then again, you use a bit of religious for cleansing. You use religion for cleansing. If you don't use that, then you're talking about your faith then, and things like that.
Yeah,
so should you be religious to do investigation? No, not really. But does it help? Probably do. It probably a religious side of it probably help when you're cleansing.
I think if you've got a house clearance and people are religious and you go down the religious route of cleansing a house. Yeah. That would probably help.
You're calling on religious names. So you've got to have some faith in that.
Exactly.
Some people are religion and they don't even know they're religious. They go, nah, but they probably are. And
I'm not religious.
I'm not religious.
And their soul could be, I'm just saying it in general.
Yeah.
And you could just have a good old soul, a good old soul don't go wrong, you don't have to be religious to have a.
I had to go on Facebook about. I had to go on someone at Facebook the other night, and it was removed in the end. there's this woman who'd got a problem in her house, and she mentioned the story on a group, and somebody's going, a ghost, it's all demons, and you need holy water, and she's going right down the religious route, and I says, please ignore all that. Don't be scared. It's probably a family member. And like this religious person just kicking off at her, and like.
Andrew told me if the demons, I've said that have something evil, you're not going to know they're evil because they're going to trick you like there's no tomorrow. So they're going to lie who they are.
Yeah.
A demon will lie to you constantly. So for you to go in somewhere and say, "Oh, it's instantly a demon," like certain TV shows, it's all whoever. It's like no, it wouldn't work like that. They'll trick you into thinking you're something else. That's the idea. What they do. That they'll trick you into thinking that. They're not going to give in and straight away and say, "I'm a demon." There you go. I'm evil. Hello, I'm evil. How are you? They're going to trick you. There's someone else, and they're never going to tell them the true selves. If you study religion in possession and stuff like that, then they're never going to give in to say who they are straight away. That's how you collect. You get rid of them. Is to find out who they are. Once you find out who they are, you can get rid of them.
Yeah.
It's just a grumpy spirit.
Sometimes. Yeah. But I wonder, we work in love and light, so obviously we deal with the light side and spirits, and which are former humans generally, and there might be creatures if you think about elementals, whatever your belief system is. But then, if you are into the dark side, then you might get more of those around you because you attract those and you work with that energy.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah.
When I went to Ashbourne Town Hall, there was a demonic pretending to be a little girl, but a lot of people in the room picked up on this little girl. But then there's three people. A guy on the team, John Tolliday, he sort of works on the sort of demonic side, as does Ben and Louisa, and they kind of thought it was demon pretending, to be a little child.
Yeah, they're more chance of doing that. They are more chance of if you read about demons, they're more about tricking you into being.
Yeah,
they're never going to tell you their identity because they don't want you to know. They'll pretend they're someone else.
It's certainly not round every corner. This is the first time I've encountered, because with three demonologists, generally, you just get normal energies. If something funny's coming through on a board, I'll just shut it down. If something feels a bit powerful, and I won't have it.
Yeah, they're 3 6s you can get, and you get.
Yeah, but
mustn't go too far, and
it can be somebody messing about.
It doesn't necessarily.
Anyone who's passed, if you get a former paranormal investigator dying, then they're going to put a Zozo on the board for a laugh, aren't they?
Oh, there's some pranksters who I think it's got some.
I would.
Pranksters who will mess you around. Now and then, I think that's wind these up.
Yeah.
I'm going to wind you up for a change.
If you got some morons on the board, we just do that, don't you?
Comment up because he makes a good point. This happened to us a few weeks ago. We done an investigation and nothing happened. Karen came along with a friend of ours for Coatbridge. It was our first investigation, and we did say it before we went. Look, it's no like Ghost Adventures. It's no like most, I hate saying it, most haunted, anything like that, and we went along to an old church, and we got a couple of flickers on the K2 meter and a couple of words through the necrophonic that we thought related to a little girl, but it turned out to be nothing. So basically, it was a flat night, but it was still a good night. And I says to Karen after, I says, I know it was quiet, whatever, and she says, no, I loved it. It was, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I do.
So that's, Wayne saying, even if nothing happens, you still can have a good night. What do you guys say with these? We've been quite lucky with evidence, we tend to get bits and pieces. would you guys say with these teams who go every single time and get stuff right away and all night kind of thing?
I generally do get pockets activity. Wherever I go, I usually get the cat ball going off. And oddly enough, I think it's my dad sometimes. I think because he follows me around and he likes playing with it. And
Something
I think
affects you every time, it seems, when you're out. I think you're just a spirit magnet.
oh yeah, I draw them in. That's
Draw the what?
I
I thought you said draw the men.
Draw, well, hey.
That means
Good man.
She's open.
sorry.
no way. But it's like I've got those trip-light things, and like they're like, it turns out there's like tubes, and each one has something like a cat ball in it, but it's linked by one set of 3 AA batteries. So that's what makes this piece of kit work. And 2 went off in different places. It's just brilliant, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But my intention now is to get 10 to go off, one at a time. So it's kind of asking Spirit to sort of come and get all the mates, and all stand at one and set them off one at a time. And that's what I want to do with that piece of kit.
That would be amazing.
It would.
One way.
This is my intention. So
Well, we say to you, if you're doing these tests with this equipment, make sure you space them out because
it is. It's on a. It's on
yeah,
a.
I know with you. Yeah, I know
wire.
you said it. But
Yeah.
so you see all these people put all their equipment all on one table. There you go.
Oh, God, no.
And they don't understand that one bit of equipment will trigger another bit of equipment that will trigger that. So you're basically not paranormal, it's just your equipment.
Walkie-talkie, RAM card.
Yeah, all
Well, the RAM will set the EDI.
I've seen them even on TV. They pile them all on the table. I've got
Wow.
16 items on here. Look at this. I said we get no, then just no, keep them
The one
separate.
that gets me is I try to be careful about it. As we get the K2 meter and the team will be doing it live, and they're right next to the K2 meter.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
going to.
Oh,
It's going. I mean, we were doing it the other night at Loudon Cup.
I noticed. Yeah, you mentioned it.
We kept edging back because we didn't want to say, "Aye, that's Spirit." So you're trying to find that bit of distance so you can still see the light, but you're no, you're no setting it off. But it's when you see them and they're
if you do
filming right next to the K2.
if you do a good example is to do say you're like in a forest in the middle of nowhere, right? And you got your K2, you got your phone switched off, you got like nothing really running, like the camera's all right as long as the lighting, or even the light on the camera can trigger it. I've had that before. So you got to sit there. But if they're just sitting there for a half an hour and they ain't even going off, and you're middle of nowhere, so there's no pylons above you, there should be nothing for miles, and they go off, that's interesting because there's nothing really, in principle, that can trigger it. It shouldn't be. You can get some natural EMF.
That's right. Yeah.
They say, which can travel. But to be in the right spot where you are in the middle of nowhere at the right time when you ask a question, responses go to red if you can understand me. Zoop. Go to red if you're a male. Zoop. Go to if you did understand me. Can you go to red twice, please? Ask a bit more complicated questions to get that effect. Like if the temperature's going down, if you've done the temperature drop thing. Drops. So can you put the temperature up now then? Go up now and it goes up, and that's exactly how you're asking it. And then that's more validates that that's paranormal. You have to. I wouldn't say trick them because that's not the right word, but try.
You just want validation and away from the normal and the obvious. Yeah, I do that as well. Yeah.
2 meters away from 20 meters away, so it's a good distance. So can you set the right one on? Can you set the left one? Can you set the right one? Mm-hmm. They say, "Are you bored of me now?" They probably are, aren't you? And then that'll flash. I've had that.
Do you want me to leave?
Can you like buff up at the same time, like in 3 seconds? 1, 2, free, and they both light up at the same time.
Yeah.
No, I've had that. That things like that are interesting because you're asking them tricky things to do, really, and they're probably
That's right. Yeah.
But if they love doing it, they don't mind. So you mind me doing this, or do you?
I
Want
apologise to them.
Yeah,
for
yeah,
asking them to do silly
be
things.
polite and be kind.
Yeah, because
Some of the stuff you get is amazing. but
Yeah,
you
I
gotta
said-
make sure you-
I know it's a kid's toy, but just humorous, please, because it's
yeah,
but
yeah.
then, and it's our way of like knowing of their presence, isn't it? But the best interaction I've had with a K2 is at Tutbury Castle, and you go like underneath into one of the buildings. No electric, it's kind of ruins anyway in that specific spot. 15 women and one bloke. The women had K2s, it was going to red. As soon as the bloke approached, they went to green. As soon as he moved away, it went to red again. And that was just fantastic. So whoever it was,
Did he have a phone in his pocket? You got to check that. You got to validate what if they do
did.
that. Every time you got to validate that
We
they
do. We always do. But
Yeah,
even with
important.
even with a phone and a K2, if you get a phone near a K2, it only goes to the amber light generally. So it will go down to green, up to amber, down to green, and that's the general reaction of Wi-Fi and a phone when it's near it.
If you get a message come in through their thing, that goes ballistic. Trust me.
Yeah.
It goes.
Or
But
if
that's
you
the thing. That's the way of testing.
you've got to understand how it works, haven't you?
Yeah, exactly.
So
Understand what your equipment does.
All of them are going on demand to the red, and that was. Oh, it wasn't filmed because I do find that I'm too busy doing something. I don't always film because you're right in the middle of it. You're not going to start your camera then, are you? Because then it just changes it. So
I changed the atmosphere. That happened. Last year we done an investigation in an old house and we get nothing. So we left and there was a castle not far from it. And so we thought, we'll go to the castle, see, just on the way by. And we never recorded it. And to this day I still regret it, but the K2 was going up to red on demand. Cat balls were going off. There was about 4 or 5 years there. Everybody else seen this white kind of shape going by what used to be the windows. I never seen it. Everybody else seen it, but I missed it. I couldn't see the plumbing thing. But we never recorded it. So we've been back, or maybe a couple of months later. We've been Halloween actually. That's when we've been back, and we got nothing except rain. That night was rain.
Are the house and castle together?
What though?
Are the house and castle close together? Have I been there?
Either it's Dalquaham. The castle and the house are about a quarter of a mile, maybe something like that.
Yeah, there's kind of a castle and a house and a little tree-lined walkway, and then the other buildings all barricaded off.
I'd say it's about a quarter of a mile at the most.
Yeah, that's probably where I went.
But I mean, the K2 was going up to red on demand, and Nanies were recording it. I thought, why did we not film that? Next time we went, we get diddly squat, except a bit of Scottish rain. I mean, Bon, what's your views on the whole what's your favourite bit of tech and what have you?
Favourite bits, I would say your own senses. For one, I like the spirit box. The rods, I like the rods. I don't like anything that makes a noise. And what I find, but whatever, I think you're missing out on things with all this noise. It's good with some of this that's sort of science-based and well-proved that it's not got weird banks, etc. I think that's all right for warming things up, trying to get things going. but I'm more for the traditional methods, really.
Mm-hmm.
And we went to Stallingborough anti-aircraft gun sites, and we basically just used cat balls. We did the spirit box, and I think we used the necrophonic just to get it going. And we got some great stuff there, and we got people talking to us. We had it all on. We've got it all on video somewhere, and we even a viewer caught an apparition on it of a soldier, and I've still got the video, and I chopped it down piece by piece. So I'll let you view that. But whatever you put up there, people just say, "Oh well, it's not this, it's not that, it's no." So I don't even bother with it. Anything that I consider good evidence, I don't even show it. I caught an old man outside a cemetery in Doncaster. It wasn't in the cemetery, and we'd been doing an invest totally flat. And as we're packing into the car, we didn't notice till afterwards. I was still talking to people online because we were doing a live, and I put that to. Do you remember the Paranormal Evidence show that used to be on?
Yeah.
And nobody could get how that's happened, because you can even see the shadow of the old man. You can see his fingers moving as he's walking away.
I saw that. Yes.
Yeah.
I saw it. I remember it. It's brilliant.
But people just say,
anything.
"Oh no, it must be the light. It mustn't." But we've tried to recreate it. I've got all that on video, and everybody said on there they couldn't work it out. But I don't bother putting it. Pardon?
Send that to me if you don't
Yeah,
mind.
will do.
I don't mind taking a look at that.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's your best captures when you're no expecting. I mean, we take a lot of photographs, and Jacqueline, that place was talking about that you were at the house with the castle.
Yeah.
We went one night and we get nothing to say, but I took photographs outside in the courtyard kind of thing, and it was pitch black, and there was about 5 of us there, and I think it was Sarah that noticed one of the photographs. There's a light in the window.
Yes, saw your photo. Yeah, seen that.
And we couldn't explain that because there's no windows, there's no floors,
And there's no one there.
and there wasn't anybody because we'd just been in the place. There was nobody there, and what I done is I sent it away to several different people, and she says, "Look, have a look at this photograph and tell me what you think." I didn't tell them anything about it, and everyone came back and said, "We can't explain that photograph."
That's the most wonderful thing about the paranormal and stuff like that.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
It is when you got your light thing and your shadow and what you're seeing and stuff like that. And because you check it, you make sure it ain't nothing that shouldn't be, and you validate it. So this is genuine, and you know yourself that it's genuine. And I think that's the most wonderful thing about being interested in the paranormal, is you validate it yourself and go, that's definitely something. No, this is definitely something paranormal. And that smile on your face when you try to debunk it and you know it, and you're 100% sure, and you get that smile. I think that's the bug. I think that's what I think most people
definitely
got.
And it's
whether
when
you got any equipment.
Expect it.
Yeah, whether you got any equipment, you're just yourself on your own. We used to go to places years ago, and with nothing really, just a torch, and maybe I might take a camera or whatever, but didn't need nothing really. And then you witness something, you witness UFOs actually on an investigation, and to find the history about the place. Mediums don't like that to hear anything, but I'm not a medium, so I can find out what I like. But I don't tell them, obviously. But it's the history as well. A lot of people love the history.
I love the history.
To the Roman Saxon times, and the stories you find out that things happened in your area and stuff. You think, wow, I didn't know that.
I was quite shocked about a local castle I didn't know what that was, like a glorified brothel. It was
Oh,
quite
right.
interesting. Yeah. So
Oh,
it's like
right.
a party palace, basically.
You
So,
just found out recently, sort of.
well, it's just Bolsover Castle. It's a castle, you
Hmm?
know.
Yeah.
And
Oh, wow.
I went and
That's what.
investigated it, and I was getting all these weird images in my head, which were a bit like, what the hell? And then you look into it, and it's like a party palace.
Oh,
So
right.
everything went on in there, and we're picking it up, and like I bumped into a girl from Paranormal Eye, a guy from Always Asking Paranormal. And this is a public event. We managed to get into a room, just the three of us, and we were just picking up loads of stuff and asking these questions and getting answers. And I think the spirit were quite shocked by the way us as women were speaking to them.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
questions we
Yeah.
kind of asked, because in those days
Oh,
women
yeah.
wouldn't ask questions, and they certainly
No.
wouldn't have mentioned what we mentioned because we were quite open about it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
That's
it's
how,
quite
that's how you
interesting.
that's how you validate. We used to validate EVPs because like I was saying, I think to you before, Scott, about mannerisms, accents, and things like that, where you couldn't replicate it if you tried. You know, whatever you tried to replicate, certain sounds and certain things, you couldn't replicate if you know, even if you tried to. We had one, you know, like a bottle top, and
Yeah,
you whistle at the top of it,
yeah,
make that distinct sound. We had that, and not only did we record it, we actually witnessed it. Like 12 people witnessed it, and all heard it loud, and that was, and you could hear it go, you know, like blowing a top. And I recorded it 2 or 3 times. I ain't shown the video yet, but it's amazing sound that you couldn't replicate even if you tried. You know what I mean? 'Cause no one's gonna have a. It's not so someone sitting there with a bottle in the corner going, "Oh, hot." And it's not something like the wind or anything because it's indoors. There's no drafts. And
We had that with a location we done quite a bit on last year, Caldwell. We done about 7 or 8 investigations there, and the stuff we got was amazing. And Jennifer, our American team, she's more audio than video. She likes
Yeah.
to listen to stuff, and
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
we're sending her, you know, the recordings, and she says you've got no idea how much you've got on here. And so I listened back with the headphones on, and the amount of noise, there was mechanical noise. This building's just a shell, you know, it's just
Yeah.
stone basically. There was mechanical sounds, and it sounded like cartwheels on cobblestones as well. All these
at this at this place as well. When I never been there, first time I ever went there, and there was I didn't know what was past this fire door. I didn't got a clue. So I've never been there before, and I could hear like quite a few of us had like a busy office. You know, typing and talking and walking, and that a super busy office sort of thing.
Mhm.
But I didn't know that. I thought, well, that's a bit odd. I'm saying, you know, is there really people in there? Or is it something to do in another office or something? Or what? They go, no. So we open the door. There's no one there. There's nothing. It's an empty room, completely. There used to be an old radar museum. That's where we investigated, and there used to be the Cold War radar place as well, and a World War II radar centre. And you know, there's no one there. There's nothing, but you can hear it clear,
You
like a
could
busy
hear it.
room. Yeah, you could hear it. You could physically hear it at the time, and then I put my ear to the door and I could hear it, like, you know, typing and moving. But it wasn't just me, a few others. And they opened the door. There's nothing there, not a sausage. It's like,
But
can't work that way.
that's what makes it worthwhile when you know you've heard,
Yeah.
and you
Like,
know there's nothing there, you know, physically, visually,
Yeah.
that you know what you've kind of heard. And so just getting back to the history side as well, we think, I mean, that's why we're called obviously, because you're saying, and I both, and the team is as well, into paranormal and history. To us, you can't have one without the other,
That's right.
or vice versa.
Definitely.
yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I think, you know, you've got, I mean, like I say, there's some investigations, some can be to do with the house, that can be the land, that can be even the person, you know, where the spirits come through, residual energy. There's all different got a few possibilities of whatever the different things, and that's you trying to find out. And sometimes you get them all at once. So you might find there's an object in there, haunted, the building's haunted, the person's haunted. Some of it residual energy. Some of it can be, you know, the person, like our granddad's come through, you know, and you know, come to see what they're up to. There's
I
all
know,
these
just
different.
the location. What does all that?
Yeah, you've got to try and get them in perspective of what's where and whatever before you can do anything. You know, it's not easy as it sounds. It just isn't. It just takes time to sort what's what, and then go from there.
Work out. Seriously, we do history. There's no paranormal. But I agree. I mean, we're called paranormal history, so I'm going to agree with. But I mean, we love the history side. Like say Edinburgh, we've done loads of the history in Edinburgh itself. You know, Pendle, places with that, Tudors, etc. With that. But just when you say that, Tim, about the haunted objects, this is one thing I want to ask you. What do you make of this upsurge in haunted dolls, haunted items, rings, you name it? You know, go on to eBay, you can buy a haunted doll. What do you all make of this sudden? I mean, I'm not dissing it. I don't know a lot about it. I know there are documented cases.
Load of crap. Excuse my name. Load of rubbish. You should be selling stuff. That's just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. It's you know, I just think it's crazy. There shouldn't be no profit in it at all. I don't believe in any profit. I mean, people are going to really shout at me for saying this, but I think that's ridiculous. For me, if you're a medium, I mean, people are really going to curse at me, whatever. I mean, I am, you know, if they want to make money out of that, that's up to them. But people say to me, you know, you got a gift, and why would you charge people money for your gift when that's a gift given to you? You got it for free, you know, right. And then you charge. If you get me, it's like that's just me personally. I just don't believe you should make money out of the paranormal at all.
Yeah, but it's like the stars. It's like everything within the paranormal, isn't it? You know, it's where you start, isn't it?
It's you know, people. That's not going to change because there's certain people can make a fortune. I know people who can make £100,000-200,000 or more a year out of being a medium. So,
but if you've got a good I'm okay. Like if you've got a real good medium, like I know people who are mediums who are good and they're friends, and they go and they help people. And it's more than that. You've got to be a counsellor. It's the way you say things as well. Being a medium, you've got a lot of responsibility because you can go somewhere and go, "Oh, that person's going to die tomorrow." My God, you can't say that. But people you know, like
I've heard mediums telling people they're going to die in a couple of years' time.
Exactly. So
crazy.
You've got a lot of responsibility. You know, you're taking time out to do that if you do give professional readings. But you know,
people might charge a tenner or something like that just for their time. You know, you've
got to be open about what you're doing basically, because I know people who run large events companies. They're running it for profit. Everyone knows it's open. You know, that's fine. It's what they're doing. People book. I go on their events. That's fine.
The texts are reading and all that. That's you text and you get a text back saying what you're reading, charge you £5. I mean, that should be shut up. That should be shut up. That's class as entertainment.
Because somebody was caught out doing that as well, weren't they? I won't mention the name of the lady, but we won't mention. Oh, there's two.
There's been few.
Yeah, two I know of, big ones. But you know, you've got that. But then you've got like people who sort of run events and they're charging a lot per ticket, and they're raking it in, and they do it as a not-for-profit.
They do it for money, not for passing the gig.
They don't do it open. to make out the not for profit as well.
Yeah, well, that's just
You know,
ridiculous, isn't it?
They
If
don't
you're
even
making
run it as a
thousands,
business.
you're doing it for profit because and then you're going to think, you know, you're making money. I mean, there is a team going about charging 500 quid to investigate someone's house. They knock on the door, that's 500 quid before they even start.
No
And
way.
I think,
Shocking,
and I
isn't it?
just thought, you can't do that. It's just wrong.
Yeah.
You can't.
It's no right. Wait, what's your thoughts, Vaughn, on all this upsurge in the haunted stuff?
I think there is some genuine things out there that may be haunted. I've never actually come across any myself, but I have picked things up off some things, some objects, and it's turned out to be true. Whether that's coincidence or not, I don't know. But I think it's all just another trend at the minute, to be honest. I've got a suitcase full of dolls. One of them's 110 years old, but I wouldn't work with it. You know what I mean? It's like a family sort of possession. But I've got to the point now where I just think, just do what you want to do it in your way, with other people who are like-minded, and leave the rest to it. I'm
like that.
Because it just drives you to run in the opposite direction.
There's definitely haunted objects. There's definitely that, because I've had them.
I've had them.
I wouldn't sell them on eBay.
No, I wouldn't buy off eBay anyway.
That's what I'm saying. There are documented cases of haunted doll, whether it's a doll, a box, you know. There are documented cases of it, but I just find, as Wayne says there, he makes a good point again. There are authentic haunted objects out, but anyone can get a doll and make it look tatty and sell it as haunted. And he's spot on.
Quite a few teams do, or rent out places and for events.
Those boxes, what they call them?
Debut boxes.
Debut box.
Yeah, God, what a load of.
I've interacted with the red wax covered box, and there's photos of me interacting with it as well.
Right,
Transfiguration, where there's a photo of me, and it didn't look like Bonsi in the photos. Have been well circulated. Basically, the item had been at the place for a week. It's Haunted Antiques Paranormal Research Centre. It arrived the week before. I arrived on the Friday. I held it all night. Then at the end of the night, someone took a photo, and it was in my hands. And there's certain features on my face which were different. The medium Jane Rowley drew before that time a picture of what she got in the mind's eye of what was in the box or what was around the box, and it had the same features of what I, have got in the photo. The next time I went, I held it, and there's this white light coming out of the box. Now everyone will say it's an orb, but it was different. It was bigger than dust. You've seen that photo as well, haven't you?
So where did the box come from? Do you know?
I can't remember. I don't know where I got it from. I have to ask him.
Yeah.
I don't know, because a lot of what he got, he was drawn to. Originally, he used to collect items, and he was drawn to them, so he kept them in his garage. But in the end, he sort of set up HAPRC after that. But yeah, some people didn't want the items, so they end up there. But he actually never says anything's haunted. So it's for people to make their own mind.
I think one of the interesting would be the pyramids, Egyptian tombs, but then there isn't much left of the tombs now, is it?
No.
That'd be a great place to investigate, I would have thought. But you would do the museum there, maybe.
I've been in them, but I've never.
Cairo Museum. That'd be interesting to see if anything you get from that would be.
I've done a museum in Derby, and there's a mummy. Whatever it is, and it was lying on a table with a case round it, and a couple of people with me saw Egyptian cat protecting this mummy, so they picked it up.
Right.
Yeah, so that was really cool because they could pick it up and they could see it, and I believe them. They're good investigators. I'm seeing them tomorrow night. Yay! Some good friends, so I trust them. Yeah.
Oh, I don't think that'd be an interesting, but you I don't think they'd let you 2 foot near that museum.
Oh no, that's it. I'd
We've-
like to go to Chichen Itza and Ishmael again. I'm interested in the Mayan pyramids.
Oh,
And that
yeah,
really
I'd love
intrigues
to
me in
go
that
there.
culture. I've been. It's beautiful. It's
You got Stonehenge, that's another one.
yeah, I've been. It's prefer Calanesh to Stonehenge because people don't go to Calanesh. Calanesh, however you
I reckon-
pronounce
I
it.
was
Got
gonna
them.
say, I don't know. It's
I
pronounced.
reckon there was places like we didn't know about this around that probably got, where they used to do, probably
Sure.
sacrifices, or they might have done
Yeah.
religion things and stuff like. Because a lot of our history's still underground, isn't it? I would have thought much less
Yeah.
of it, but the energy's still there. People say they get feelings when they go over certain places, certain areas, and they find out, why do I get this from this certain point? There's just a field. I just wonder what the history was, was there before. Be quite interesting to get some stories like that.
I went to Culloden battlefield,
Oh wow.
and that is one of the most bizarre places I've ever been to,
God.
because I could actually picture it. You can feel it. It was just literally a total bloodbath.
Oh my God.
No one had a chance of really winning that. That was obviously Scott will know a lot more than me about it, but the feeling about it really affected me.
Yeah.
And now I'm wary about going to battlefields.
You ought to
When
go to
people
Bosworth.
mention them, I'm like, ooh.
That's
When you go
interesting, yeah.
to Hinckley, go to Bosworth because it's not far away.
And it's whether people get these feelings when they go certain places, isn't it? But like I said, if you don't know the history and you don't know it's just a field, and people said they walked across the field and thought, whoa, this is something
Oh, that's
just
awful, that
us.
place.
And you didn't know. I mean, there's someone maybe got murdered there and got buried. There could be something dramatic or something. That's interesting that there's history there in the middle of nowhere, if you know what I mean. And no one knows nothing about it, only you feeling. Because mediums have told me this
That's
before.
awful.
I've sensed things before. But
Well,
there's just
Jacqueline
nothing.
will tell you,
Anywhere.
I don't class myself as a medium. I think anybody. I honestly think anybody would pick something up in there. And I went to prisoner of war camp in Poland, and that was the same sort of feeling. It was just so overwhelming, and you could just feel that.
Yeah.
It was just like a feeling of just sheer misery, walking around.
Yeah, dread.
I've heard people saying they'd like to go investigate. I couldn't even investigate Culloden battlefield. I couldn't do it.
I wonder if that's a saying.
But I couldn't do it.
Say someone, you feel that thing called you feel someone walk on your grave and you get the shudder. Ooh. I wonder if that's actually something you're picking up, actually, through.
Culloden was actually I got that feeling the other night from that black mass.
Yeah.
You're picking something up and sensitive to it or whatever, and you're getting that. Ugh, that's nothing to do with. They say your temperature changed, didn't they, as well?
It was. Culloden was more overwhelming, far too overwhelming. It was. You could feel the atmosphere of it. Even though it's not there, obviously, it was years ago. It's, where was that, Wayne?
But the bodies are still going to be there, though, aren't they?
Yeah, Wayne said that.
In Culloden,
Auschwitz, it's a terrible feeling.
the bodies are still
Culloden
going to
felt
be
like
at
that.
Culloden. They won't be
Some
buried
buried
at all.
there. Quite a lot buried there.
Yeah, exactly.
Even there's unmarked graves there. They just fell where they fell.
Yeah, that's right.
But when you actually see it, it looks miles away. But when you're actually there, you think they didn't have a cat in hell's chance. It was just slaughter.
It was just a bloodbath. Do you think that sometimes knowing the history of a place can influence how you feel? I mean, for example, we obviously was talking about Greyfriars earlier on, the Covenanters prison. We've been in the Covenanters prison a few times, and I don't know about you, Vaughn, but when you go from the Kirkyard into the prison, you can feel a different atmosphere as soon as you walk in. And I've always asked myself, is it up here?
Yeah.
Because obviously we know what happened there, back the Covenanters. There wasn't any tombs there, it was just a field at that time. But you know what went on there, the mob being imprisoned and how they suffered. So you think, well, is it psychological, me getting this feeling?
With
Or
that,
is it
but not
something
with
actually
Culloden. Because it was when COVID was on, we couldn't go into the museum. We could go around the field of Culloden, but we couldn't actually go in. So we had no information about it. We'd not read about it. And you sort of know that it happened in the past, but such as like the distances and things like that, it's only when I sat down on the night and looked and you'd see the amount of space, but you'd already felt that.
Wow.
Before, had we gone round the museum, I would have said, yeah, definitely. But because that day, no. No, you pick it up when you're walking through. It's an awful
We
feeling.
were there last year. We were up in Inverness, football, and we were moving up to Culloden. We didn't go into the battlefield. I think it was closed off. But we were up there. But you just when I was outside the car, it was a weird feeling. I got just standing, because obviously you know the history of the place, what happened. But it's like Greyfriars, it's like stepping back in time, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean about that.
You're there, but you're not there.
But it's like at Culloden, I felt as though you could actually feel it as it was sort of happening, even though, like you're saying, that it had already happened. But it was that feeling that you actually was just so, like a film, just stood back watching it. It was...
Wow.
It's awful. No,
You
I
see
wouldn't
with
go back in.
Bannockburn as well. I don't know if you've been to Bannockburn.
No, no, not been there.
We went up there last year as well, and there's a big memorial, and we'll have it on the actual battlefield itself, and standing there. I mean, it's all modern. The memorial, the whole setup is all quite modern, but you're in the middle of the battlefield basically, and it feels quite solemn because you know.
I can say if your head's not in the right place when you do these things, you got to be careful, because if you're low, you're not quite feeling, down or whatever. You got to be careful, because spirits can pick up on that.
I was fine. I was on holiday. I was having a ball.
Oh yeah, I'm just saying that's just something I remember saying about, and you got to be careful, because if there's quite a negative spirit sort of thing with attitude, whatever, they'll make sure they'll feed off you like that. Yeah, they'll feed off you like.
Oh
so
yeah.
If you're down, whatever, and you're not in your right mind, don't go. My advice, don't even bother going. Make sure you feel.
I've been twice when I probably shouldn't have gone, and it was the same location actually. I lost my mum, and I'd booked to go to a location, and I kind of went because I didn't know what else to do. Just keep busy. That's what I do.
Yeah.
And then, I was about to lose my dad because he went on end of life, and he died on the day that I booked the place again. So
Hi, Charles.
it just seemed right to go, didn't it?
Yeah.
Which was a
Yeah.
bit odd.
Well, I'm sure they would have watched you to go anyway, because
they've been with me now. They've turned up on them with me. So it's weird.
We're all with
yeah.
Yeah, they warned me about my dog actually. I went to the Y Theatre. It's a public event with a team which don't exist, but I'm actually seeing part of that team tomorrow night. They're coming along, so they're great friends. and I just sat in the auditorium, and I knew that somebody had sat in the car alongside me, and I thought it was my mum. And he basically said, "You've got a woman alongside you in the auditorium," and he said, "You've got a bloke behind you in a wheelchair." You know, no, I forgot that the last month of my dad's life, he was in a wheelchair. And they warned me about. He said, "I've got a staffy." They showed me a brindle staffy. I said, "Yeah, that's my dog." He's alive. Why, you know? And they said, "I've got to name Mr. Bones through." Well, Mr. Bones was another dog, and it didn't mean anything to anyone else. And they'd not even met this dog. And basically, he'd had a tumour, and he'd been fine. And I think they kind of warned me that my dog was ill. And my dog was ill. He had a tumour, and he died. But it was.
Bless.
I think my parents warned me, because this group had a medium who was on stage, and he kind of picked up on. And they let me know what was going on, which was quite. And my mum does affect the car I have as well. She does cause problems, mechanical problems. in my car,
I know mediums are kind of a touch and go subject, you know, because anybody can claim, you know, I'm a medium, but you know, back it up. I mean, I saw a really reliable one many years ago. Just what you were saying on about the spiritualist churches, I used to go to them in Glasgow, and I went to a new one week. Just myself, never been before. It was a last minute thing. I just got in the car, went, and there was a woman maybe in her late 50s, and I was sitting there myself, didn't know anybody. I was a totally different town to where I live in, and the woman came straight to me and she says, "You've got a daughter in the spirit world called Donna, and she's been sitting on your knees since she came in."
Oh. Wow.
And I lost a wee girl. She was just under 6 months, called Donna. I don't know if you can see I've got a D on my hand. Donna. She was just under 6 months, but this woman says she was on your knees since she came in. Now, nobody knew me, nobody.
Yeah.
And I was telling people the next day, and I said, "Will you explain that to me?"
Yeah.
You know, how this woman, and
I've
she
witnessed,
told me about my ex-girlfriend, how her name, that she'd passed over in America, it was to do with her breathing, and it was a car crash, and she was spot on. Her name was Alison, and she took an asthma attack one night at the wheel, crashed, she was killed.
Oh God.
She says Alison's wants you to know she's going to be watching over you. She told me about my grandma. She told me all these things. The strange thing was as well, a couple of weeks later I went to a different church, and cheers Wayne, buddy. And
Wayne.
Medium.
Bye.
And the medium turned around and says to me, "Alison wants you to know she's still watching over you."
Oh,
This was about 2 weeks later. Different church, different medium.
I've witnessed some amazing stuff, like exactly what you just said. It's amazing. I've witnessed that. I've experienced it, and I've witnessed it, and it blows your mind. That really have. I mean, some of the mediums I've dealt with quite a few. Trust me. But some of them are just absolutely unbelievable. It's just impossible. And I try to debunk them. I'm not an anti-medium. Don't get me wrong, but I try and debunk them in a way, unless I know them, obviously, like other mediums, Tash and Annabelle. I don't need to, because I trust them and I know they're doing their best, and some stuff a lot of stuff they get is just amazing. It just blows your mind, you know, how they would know. But you know, with certain mediums, I used to question mediums at the beginning of years ago.
Oh, I did.
And I thought, what? It's just a money-making scam, whatever. You know, blah blah.
That's what I thought.
When you see real mediums at work, you think, wow, oh my lord, that's just. There's no way they'd know. It's impossible. Because I had to read them myself, and there's no way they would have known certain things that even I'd forgot about for years. You know, there's no way they'd know. Impossible. Well, but they knew.
I mean, this woman also said, you know, I've got a short elderly woman here with grey hair. Now that could be anybody's granny.
Yeah, anyone's granny.
Specifics.
she's going like this.
Detail.
She says you'll know her by doing this, but she was doing this down at her waist. So she's doing this. And my grandma, she was about 3'2". She was tiny, but when she got up in the morning to when she went to bed, she used to wear one of the old-fashioned aprons, round the waist.
Yeah.
And because of the size there, the strings, the tires were too big.
Yeah.
So they were always and she was it used to drive me and my older brother nuts because she was constantly untying and tying. And we used to say to her, Grandma, it's fine. Leave your bloody apron alone. It's not going to fall.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was, every 10, she was constantly playing it every day.
It's the detail. This is what I said when you do investigations as well. It's the detail you're looking for. The little bits that even for the ghosted box we use. It's the detail I'm looking for. Something specific that they there's no way that could impossible to know. And it's the same with the Ovilus. We had a certain detail. When I'd done their private, when I was telling you, Scott, I got through the office. We got things like that said tire, bones, and spoon, garden. Straight away, the first words that come out with, and the people were shocked. And they turned and said, "What's that? Doesn't make any sense." Oh, it makes some sense, all right. I was digging the garden up the other day and I dug up a tire, spoon, and some bones. See, how can you? You can't say that's just
a validation.
Yeah, it's impossible to come up with that. Yeah, it's impossible. And that's what I'm looking for all the time. Is little, detail. If a medium says something that says, "Oh, blah blah blah," oh, you used to have a little trinket box, and well, that's possible, blah blah blah. But you used to keep it under your bed, but no one wants to do. And there's some rings in there, it's that detail. And then when you hear these things, and they're going, "How the heck do you know that?" No one would know that. Impossible, And that's sort of the thing you're validating, and that validates for a medium to come up with those things, And you think, wow.
I got something. I was at a lesson and I did psychometry, and I held this envelope, and I basically had to say what I got from it. And in the end, this girl was crying because I was so spot on about it. And I think because I may have upset people a couple of times, and they're glad you've got the information through, but it's so emotional. That's why I just do it on ghost hunts rather than personal, because I can give readings, but I stay clear because it's heartbreaking, isn't it? Sometimes.
Yeah,
and,
I think.
And that's why I speak to them just on ghost hunts, to be fair, rather than singing great on whoever through, because it's just it's heartbreaking.
And some people
it's so nice, isn't it? But
some people are so gifted with this thing that they don't really use the gift. I mean, Annabelle, she's so gifted as a medium, but she don't use it unless she don't do anything only with the team bits. She's not like walking down the road going, "Oh, I feel your aunt's walking behind you." I mean, I've seen mediums that, "Oh, you don't mind me saying, but your aunt's walking behind," and they're like, "What the hell are you on about?" They're shoving it at people, With certain people like Annabelle, she wouldn't. No, there's only certain things when she needs to say it when it come across, and keep it to us,
I do that though.
Yeah,
Like I say, I'm not a medium. I don't feel I'm a medium, and I wouldn't say I was a medium, but I do pick things up, but I keep quiet.
Yeah. But it doesn't have to be named as a medium. It doesn't have to be.
No, it's just naming convention, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just more important than anything to a way, because that's something you experience. You know what's happened, and you've got an understanding of it. Whether you, how far you want to go with it, it's up to your choice. You don't have to be sending
randomly. I'll pick stuff up.
Sending messages on text for £5.
Oh no,
no, never.
I'll randomly pick up stuff, just feeling that something's there, or a name in my head, or an image, stuff like that. And the first ever interview I done, the guy says, so, he introduced me as a medium. I says, no, I'm not a medium.
Yeah, that's
I'm not are you sensitive? I says, no, I'm not a
But
medium.
you see, if
I'm
you,
not a sensitive.
but if you were with
I'm
us,
nothing.
Scott, the first thing I'd say to you is, if you feel something or you see something, just say. Then even if it's in your, say you imagined it or you might have thought you heard, just say, because that might be something that'll come up later on that someone else see similar. So it's important, or you'll say keep it to yourself and tell us later if it's not relevant.
There's a couple of shows that are on a couple of groups that I follow, and it's sort of to test myself. I really like the groups, but what they do, they have no history or anything. They just turn up at a location, and you've got to see what you pick up.
Yeah.
And it was
I
on last
try and
night,
do that.
and I did really well with one last night. It was. Yeah, I was real pleased with myself.
Oh,
because I
brilliant.
thought, well, it's still practice,
Yeah.
and it's validation to me that if I do pick something up, I can say it to myself, or I could say it to somebody else in a situation.
Yeah.
It's all just practice.
It's a good thing for lives, really. When you do it, when we used to do lives, we used to say to people, any input you get, anything you feel or see or anything, just say, or keep it to yourself for later or something, and see if it validates anything that comes along.
Because the thing is, for years, I used to get all these things, and I never understood it. And I used to think, I'm going a bit wappy. But it isn't. You're picking it up, and it's often correct. It fits in. And it's with the more you say it and the more you use it, the more stronger it gets.
Just when you're saying that, Vaughan, years and years and years ago, I must be in my 20s, before mobiles came out, with just landlines, that's how long ago it was. If the phone rang, I was able to tell you who was phoning.
Yeah.
We had a phone, and it was a fancy phone then, because it was on the wall.
Yeah.
There was none of your on the TV. We had a fancy on the wall phone. And I used to say to my ex-wife, that's your mum, that's your sister. And she'd pick it up. She,
And
how do you know
things
I don't know. And I ended up starting a joke, it's your mother's ring. Know that anywhere. It was the same ring for everybody. But I said, that's your sister on the phone.
It's like when you know someone's going to come round.
They've
not told you, but you know it.
That's when someone come around, you don't want them to bloody come round. That's more than
They're still converting.
You're sitting down to eat your dinner and then someone knocking on the door. You think,
I know who that is. What would happen a lot is we'd be sitting maybe watching the telly, and I would think, she's going to suggest a Chinese. And maybe 10, 15 minutes, do you want to get a Chinese tonight? No, I couldn't explain how I knew that,
Yeah.
But she's going to ask me if I want Chinese.
Can I just be excused for? Can I be excused for a sec? I really need to go to the toilet. I'll be peeing in the plant pot in a minute.
No, just go and do your business.
Carry on. I'll be back in a sec.
But it was things like that, and I used to tell people, the phone rang last night, it was her mum, and say, well, how did you know that? I said, I don't know. I can't explain it, and I just kind of shrugged it off for years, and then I would start looking, sometimes I would start at random photographs, and I'd see things in the photograph, there's a girl, Natalie, she runs Ghost Ramblers, and she's coming back on actually, but she's a great photographer, and she posts photographs, and it was way last year she posted a photograph of the side of this old building, and I put a comment in saying there's a woman standing in the second floor window, and she looks very Downtown Abbey, and she's staring, she got a pointed nose, she's staring down her nose. Natalie contacted me straight, she says, that's freaky because I had a girl with me who's studying mediumship. She said the exact same thing.
Wow.
And described the woman the exact same way. We had Natalie on her live last year, we were talking about it. I said her hair's right tight back, and it's got a bun at the back of it. And she's very serious. She says that's exactly how Carla described that woman that she's seen in the city. And I don't know how you see it. You know, I've always said, I don't know what you girls think, but it's like having two photographs of the same location, maybe a staircase, for example. And one photographs you see the stairs, another photographs the stairs, and a couple of women standing on it. I'll see the one with the woman on it, whereas other people see the one with nobody on it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, when I get, we're not allowed to say screen SHOT anymore, are we? But when we get, if anybody sends any of them in after a live, I never put like the circles round or anything. I tell them to leave it and just let people decide what they can see. And we all see different things, don't we?
Aye, we do. We took a photograph at Greyfriars a couple of years ago, and when we're looking back at the photographs, it looked like a wizard-shaped kind of guy standing against the church. That was the only way I can do. So we put it into this group we were in at the time, and this guy, he looked at the photograph and he ripped it apart basically, and he came back. He says, "Listen, mate," he says, "that's a plant pot." And it turned out it was a plant pot. And he says, "You know, fair enough, you know." It looked like an old man with a hat and a beard and that. He says, "No." And he cleaned it up. I don't know how he done it. I'm no tech man.
Yeah.
And he sent it to me.
Change the light and stuff.
He says, there's your photograph. And it was a plant pot. You know.
But newspapers publish these things like fire extinguishers and things like that, showing the ghosts, and they publish it.
Oh, don't go in with that. That's, you know, and that was the twins from The Shining, remember?
That was shocking, wasn't it?
That was, see, when I saw that with caps, it was the cap, you know, we captured the was it twins from The Shining or something?
Twins, yeah.
Yeah.
The Shining was made up.
I know, it's just too funny. It got all publicity though, didn't it?
If I'm doing a walk round, I always say there's two ghosts. They've got red jackets on them.
Yeah,
too.
I do that as well. Right, the twins, the fire extinguisher twin ghosts.
Sorry about that. I had a dog out as well. He wanted to go for a tiddle.
Sorry.
Doing a tiddle.
We're talking the famous fire extinguishers.
Sorry?
We were talking about the famous fire extinguisher photograph.
Oh, that. Oh, yeah, that was cool. That was, yeah.
But the thing that gets me is people build. I mean, I was watching a podcast way last year, and there was a girl on it who was saying she was the reincarnation of Maid Marian.
Yeah, okay, maybe.
Every time she goes to Sherwood Forest, the spirits bow down to her. Maid Marian never existed. She was made up.
It might be. It was based. It might have been based on something though. This is the question, isn't it? Like Robin Hood. There was somebody called Robin, maybe.
Robin Hood was based on a real person back then, but the Maid Marian was added in to give it the legend, a wee bit of romance kind of thing, you know, a wee bit of juice.
That's just a legend, isn't it?
You know, I was Maid Marian in a previous life, and I'm watching this clown thinking,
Sherlock
how
Holmes.
could you be reincarnated for somebody that didn't exist?
You've got the woman marrying the pirate, though, haven't you?
See, that's like the fire extinguisher. When you take photographs of things, you have to go and take several pictures, not one.
Yeah, they would have stayed standing there, wouldn't they?
They'd all been in the same one, wouldn't they? All these two figures would have been the same. Now, when you get that, we've had the same figure in the same 7 pictures. Well, that's obviously an object. It's not going to be all the 7, surely. And then you check to see, you know, what is there while you're there. So you check the pictures while you're there, and then go, oh right, oh, that's that. That's a towel hanging there, not a ghost. That in a
Yeah,
wood
that's
there.
it. We shall be.
If you
See, I've
kept
got a
something,
shadow there, you see.
you
And I
have to go back.
wondered what that was, so I moved, and then you can see it's a light.
Yeah, you have to
I
debunk it.
wondered,
I mean,
like, earlier on in the show.
it's a good
It's
sound.
the things that, and this amazes me. It's the things that people claim, and other people actually believe it. You know,
Yeah, it makes a mockery out of it.
But
It's
there's
the same
another
with
individual.
dodgy mediums. Dodgy mediums will, you know, they'll tell people something and they will completely believe that's going to happen. Or
Aye.
And it probably will happen because they're that worried about something happening.
yeah,
Then
there's someone
they'll
who
do
said
something.
something about they're going to die and they did die, right?
Hmm.
And you think, oh, is there some truth? And you find out really that the person who actually died has got to a point where they knew they or got told they were going to die, and they got to a point where they said, "Well, I'm going to die. I don't care." So they ended up drinking or driving and crashed.
Right. Or it, you know, it's stress and it causes heart
So
issues, you know. Or,
It's not because that was a medium's, you know, prediction. That was more like they were just going to tell them they're going to die.
disgusting.
You know, yeah, it's disgusting. And their attitude was, "I'm going to die anyway, and I'll drink." And they ended up crashing the car because they were drunk. Nothing to do with the medium thing. And then the medium will probably sit there going, "See, I told you I was right." They're the ones who put it in their head before they even start. You know, it's horrible. It should be controlled to some sense. To say to people, well, it's, you know, it's entertainment, and that's how you get through law and stuff, and so it's entertainment. That shouldn't be allowed. It's the same as, you know, it should be, you know, some sort of governing body. That there isn't anything. There's no
Yeah,
governing.
right, you've got the
them
SNUs,
up.
haven't they?
Yeah.
But
They
they
make
sort of
them up.
from their bit.
Yeah. Oh, I've been so and so. It's the same with everything now. You know, nothing's governed. Even estate agents are not governed really. They go, well, I'm joined this ITP club,
Yeah.
or I'm part of the membership. There, you find out the membership don't mean nothing. You know, and
But then
that's
who's going to govern the governors?
this
You
is
know,
make,
this is the thing. That's where the money exchanges hands, isn't it? And all the question mark.
there's no government. Then there should be. There should be on medium. I think you should be registered, like a nurse or a doctor. You should be registered because what you say the wrong thing, you're going to put things into people's heads that can cause, you know, big problems. You know,
And it's
telling someone they need. The person said that one I said earlier said about they have to, you know, they've got to commit suicide. And even in the conversation that said, how many tablets do you think I need? And they said, oh, probably about 100. Your mum's saying about 100. They were saying their mum was telling them that they've got to come and join them.
God.
And things like that, you know. That person should, you know, obviously went to the police, forward, but
This
it's
is the trouble
disgusting.
with the Sorry, Tim. This is just trouble with it, and I'm probably shot down for this, but you know, I believe I'm a glass with you, so I believe it's speaking my mind. You know what I mean? There's too much crap in the paranormal these days.
Right.
Yes,
I
It's
agree.
getting to the sillies. I mean, that what you're saying there, Tim, is totally tragic. Buying what you order.
and it's true. I honestly know it's true. And I've had the recording, and and our medium Natasha was just stood there with her mouth open, going, "I just can't believe it. It just makes me feel terrible to be in medium and things like." She said, "It just put you down there. You know, you just feel awful because." You know, you can't believe this sort of thing happened, and they charged them money for this as well. It's just
I heard a growl then. Is that
I
your
did.
dog,
It's your
Jacqueline?
dog.
No,
It
it's
could
not
be my
mine.
dog.
She's asleep.
Did he growl? With? Yeah, it's my dog.
Yeah.
Oh, I heard it, yeah. My
I thought it
snoring.
might be Jacqueline.
Debunked.
Debunked.
But yeah, I think there should be some sort of, registered for these mediums, and then because I feel sorry for the genuine mediums who,
Yeah,
they
that's
get
right.
laughed at, and can make a mockery, like you say, with investigators, and make a mockery whether you're a good investigator or a bad investigator. But the main thing is whether if you're a good or bad one. The thing is whether if if your heart's there, you know, you're trying to do the right thing. That's not a bad thing. You know, if you're trying to do you could be a terrible investigator, but if your heart's there and you're trying to do the right thing, then that's a good thing. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
That's when you get these people who just want to make money out of it, just to make a mockery out of it, and it just gets pathetic. I mean, if I see OMG on front of a YouTube thing,
Oh God! OMG, demon died here.
yeah, that's it. Yeah, OMG, I got attacked by the Titanic. The Titanic landed in my garden pond. All the spirits.
Aye, some of the. I mean, there's another one I've seen. It's an individual who believes that the Mackenzie poltergeist visits their house and protects them. You know,
Yeah.
you know George Mackenzie, the Greyfriars.
Yeah.
This person's convinced that Mackenzie visits them and, you know, calls in. I actually watched one of their podcasts one night and they were doing Spirit Box. He says, "Oh, Mr. Mackenzie's here." About 10 minutes later, says, "Well, he's away." So he only visited for 10 minutes, even though Mackenzie poltergeist is made up for the purpose of a book.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, well,
Yeah.
you know, George Mackenzie, bloody Mackenzie, this is what he's up to these days. He's came all the way from Edinburgh,
What's
you know, to our end to check in on somebody on a Saturday
what's
night, stay
what's
for
the-
10 minutes, and then bugger off back to Greyfriars.
what's the 30 East Drive one? There was a name for that.
The
Black
Black
Monk.
Monk.
What was the name? There was a name for him.
Boris.
No, was it
Oh,
Bob? The monk.
no, not
No
Bob.
idea.
No, it wasn't
I
Bob.
got you
It
tested
was,
now, anyway. I can't remember what his bloody name was. There's a name for him.
There
I
is.
can't remember what his bloody name was.
This
Wanted
is
to
Googling.
Googling. Yeah,
I mean, if
I
you're
know
going to, the bottom line is, if you're going to, it's no hard. It's very, if you're going about it paranormal, if you're going to be an investigator, then just be genuine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you get nothing, say you get nothing.
Yeah.
You know, you
Yeah,
don't
some-
agree. Make
Someone
up-
mentioned this about the 30 strike. They were doing a live or something, like, and they were mentioning this monk's saying the monk's name and calling him. They got so and so come through, whatever. That's his name. Blah 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 blah. blah.
Yeah. It's,
And the fact is, that was a made up name. It didn't. It doesn't. It was what the family made up. You
Can't
found
find
it.
him.
No,
No.
it was the name that was made up by the family. There's no relevance to the name whatsoever to the case at the time. You know, years
Well,
ago.
see, that's the same
It's-
as
You wouldn't be
Greyfriars,
saying, yeah, you wouldn't be
the
saying that
Black
name.
Mausoleum in the Covenanters prison. I
Yeah.
mean, there's over 3,000 documented attacks in the prison in the Black Mausoleum. That's why the prison's now locked. But the fact is, they've all happened. The Black Mausoleum is actually the resting place of the Dundas family, who had no ties to the Covenanters or McKay, nothing. They were a well-respected family. And I mean, I've got a theory, and I've spoken to a few people about it, why it's not the tomb, it's the land. Because back when the
Yeah.
Covenanters were there, as I said, there wasn't any tombs there, it was just a field. And so my theory is whatever's causing the havoc in is actually one of the old guards. Because the guards
Yeah.
back then were known to give the prisoners daily random beatings. Every day, you know, somebody would just get selected and get the crap beaten out of them, basically. And my theory is that it's one of the guards that still wanders in that prison.
Yeah, looking after
Still-
the grounds,
You
protecting
know,
it, and
and
yeah,
where
Quite
the
believe
mausoleum is, I think there was some kind of post there, you know, guard post or shelter, whatever you want to call it. And this is why it's centred around it. It's got nothing to do with the mausoleum or the Dundas family. But a lot of people say it's George Mackenzie.
I went on a ghost tour in there that they arrange at there, and we went round to the mausoleum, and then we went in. There's like a They say it's a mausoleum, but it's more like a store area. And you go in and you're all in pitch black and it's a tunnel. And then one of these that are dressed in costumes, these actors, jumps out from the back and they say that it's Mackenzie. That it's Mackenzie's ghost. Quite pathetic, really, but we had a giggle with it.
I mean, we're quite friendly with Jamie Christopher, who runs the Dead Tours. They do the tours in Greyfriars, the prison. And, hey, Stuart Burry, nothing to do with George Mackenzie. Exactly, man. City Dead Tours tell you straight. You know, I know a lot of the tour companies give you all the rehearsed spiel, but City Dead Tours tell you straight. But it's got nothing to do with George Mackenzie. It's all these people that will leave it, and it's a Mackenzie poltergeist. Say, well, bollocks, because Mackenzie poltergeist was made up. You know, it was Jan Henderson.
You wouldn't go to, you know, 30 East Drive and call it the name that the family made up. There's no evidence whatsoever to say that person, the monk, apparently that was the only reason they said that was a black monk because they caught a figure that looked like a monk. But there's no evidence that it is a monk. There's no evidence to validate it was a monk because they said it looked like a monk. And the name they gave it was, bloody forgot that.
I'm just looking now.
There's no relevance to that name whatsoever, only what the family made up. So it's a nickname, so you'd call it whatever you want to call it.
And apparently he was found in the garden. He was seen in the garden, not in the actual property.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I think there is a monastery right not far from there as well.
There is a monastery, yeah.
Yeah.
Aye.
So, you know, there could be connection, but there's no validation, as far as I know, of what Andrew's, I think he's got the case notes to that. I can't remember who investigated it now, but Andrew normally got the original case notes to some of these even the 30 East Drive one. I think he's got a few case notes on that because years ago they used to a bit like Power Unity. They'd work together. They'd pass information on to each other and notes and stuff on cases. And they used to look into the case, you know, to give them some new set of eyes and ears, sort of thing, you know, some thing. Now they don't know, but they used to.
I'm the frame of mind. I mean, I'm quite outspoken. Sometimes it doesn't go well, but you know, however.
Yeah.
But if you're going to claim something in the paranormal, back it up. Have something to back it up with. You know, whether it's a photograph, whether it's an audio recording, have something to, and get it validated.
Exactly right.
Somebody independent. There's got nothing to do with your team. You know, I mean, we got last year. I called the Whispering Lady. It was a voice we picked up on an investigation, and it wasn't through the app. I sent it to 11 different people, including Charlie for the Haunted Touch, Jim Martin. 11 different people I sent this recording to.
Fred.
And it was Jim Martin.
Fred.
Fred.
Sorry.
And
no, it's Sarah. Fred thought I was shouting at him.
And this person was calling him Fred. Come on, Fred. We know you're there, Fred. Whatever. Nothing.
Oh, God,
yeah.
But his name wasn't.
There's no validation of his name. That's a nickname that they found me. It could have been John, Steve, Graham. It could have been anyone. So, you know,
you're going to claim something and validate it. Have something to back it up before you. I mean, that photograph I was talking about, I put it up on our page. It says, "Look, we took this last night. We can't explain it." But then I sent it to quite a few people and says, "We're going to look at this photograph." And everybody came back and says, "We can't explain that photograph. That's paranormal." There's no, and we even blew the light up, and it's the image of a woman with some kind of hood or shawl or something on. And so I put it up back up on the page. So we've sent this to various people. They've validated it, and they've said it's paranormal. You know, but you get these clowns out there that are just stating things, and they don't have a shred of validation.
And also,
But
like I
then
said,
you don't always get evidence.
no,
You-
the more pictures you take of one item, like yourself, what thing, and then you get like nothing, and then suddenly something, and then nothing. That something probably could be paranormal, because there's nothing there in the before, nothing there in the after, but not necessarily. Someone said to me about a picture. Why didn't you take more pictures about someone's post or something? And I had a go at it. And I commented and said, "Well, look, not everyone's a paranormal investigator, are they? So they're not. The norm is one picture.
Right.
Everyone takes one picture,
Yeah.
and then you catch something.
But
I
That's
like
the
that
norm.
picture.
Yeah. An investigator should always take more because you're trying to validate. There's like the fire extinguishers. If you'd have took 10 pictures, you've got 10 fire extinguishers.
20.
Because 100 fires, they ain't going anywhere.
But that's
Because they don't.
as you say, take the pictures. When I took that picture, we weren't investigating, we were actually just walking across the courtyard. We thought, I'll take a couple of pictures for TikTok
Yeah.
and what have you. And there was 5 or 6 there, and it was pitch. I mean, you've been there, Jacqueline. It was pitch black.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
we would have seen that light.
Yeah.
Somebody would have seen that. There was no light there.
Yeah,
There's
but
nothing.
but at least you debunked it. At least you're there and debunked it and try and find out what it is and stuff like that. Where these people, the fire extinguishers, didn't give
Oh,
a
that
shit. It's just something that come up later. That's something that
No.
come up later. Oh,
It
that's
got more views, didn't it? And more gold stars.
Well, that's
Oh,
it.
yeah.
yeah, yeah. More of that Wonga. Get in
More,
there.
more argument. More
More
argument.
drama, more money.
Yeah.
Get in there. Not
Because everybody
stupid.
wants to see this photograph,
Yeah.
because I know if somebody said to me, "Oh, you want to see this photograph that was in Facebook?" This guy's claiming it's twins, but it's fire extinguishers. The first thing you're going to do is going to go and hunt it down.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're going to want to see it.
Yeah, it's no good. It's no good doing it afterwards. I mean, if you find something like that, like we did, we found like a white figure, and at first we just thought probably light, it could be anything. So
Yeah.
until you go back and then debunk it, and then do the exactly same footage and repeat it at the same time roughly,
Mm.
but with a light. If it's dark, make sure you get the right. Everything's got to be replicated.
Yeah.
If you had a certain light on your camera, use that. Stand in the same position and just repeat what you've done, and see if they compare. There's anything do that come up again.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can determine. Well, ain't that? And try a different angle. Maybe that was something the light come from somewhere, and then you go back on it until you keep doing it and find out that isn't there. It isn't nothing else you've tried. Then you can just say, well, that's unexplainable. Like, you can't be uncertain.
We can't
That's
explain it.
unexplainable because you're replicating something that is, ain't going to
Well,
change.
I've just noticed the time, folks. I think we'll wind up.
Yeah.
That's 2.5
Yeah.
minutes.
Gotta go.
You said it'd only be 30 minutes.
I had to go
like-
to sleep last night. A heavy day, and I'm out tomorrow. Gee,
Tim,
work
I'm
it out.
Scottish. We lie
This is
all the time.
overtime. This is overtime, Scott. You just say like £50 an hour. So
Aye. Oh, never
over.
believe a glass week.
I didn't get payment from last time and the time before.
Just one last comment for Stuart. He's not a big comment. There's no connection between George Mackenzie tomb and the bit inside the Covenant as was alleged poltergeist. When Mackenzie tomb was broken into and by some homeless person who fell through the floor, there was a lot of things that started happening, significant rise in activity. It quieted down for years, so after that, then a young lad called Sonny Devlin broke into the Mackenzie tomb, cut his head off and was thrown out. I remember that.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that I
they were
remember.
playing
that.
with. They actually get caught doing it. What happened was one of the tour guides caught them and pretended to be interested in it and says, if you wait till I finish my tour, I'll come back. But they went away and phoned the police, and the police came and they get done with, it was some ancient law that's still in effect today, desecration of a tomb. It was some
Desecration. Oh, I hate that. Oh, I drive me
I
nuts.
can't mind it, but it was some old dating back quite a few hundred years. So
Mm.
this law's still in effect, and that's what they get charged with. Just sick anyway. But I think we'll wind up. That's 2.5 hours we've
Yes.
been on for. So
Yes.
I'm going to be too tired to go out tomorrow night.
Yeah,
we're
whatever,
having
Jackie.
we're having
I
the
thought,
weekend off.
I thought a cancelled car park. I've just charged you another 50 quid because you've gone over a minute now.
Oh, God.
Well, we don't swear in this channel, but you can guess what I tell you anyway. I mean, you can guess what, and it's two words. So before we go, do you want to plug your channels where we can all find you? Whoever wants to go first, ladies first.
Jacqueline?
Okay, I've got a group and a page called Paranormal Path. On the actual page, we do a live show, me and Lois Haddo, and we do the show from 8 till 9:30 on a Monday evening. We've got Ames Slaney on this Monday,
Yes.
and the following week we have a gentleman from Scotland, Robbie Cousins on the following
Mr. Robbie's
Monday, so yeah.
I'll be watching that one.
And yeah, we'll be going out to the Things Network as well. So yeah. And I'm writing a book one day when I get time.
My group's Matrix Paranormal UK. I go out often with Wings Paranormal. We join up, do lives usually about once a week if we can make it. And that's us really. We're just a little quiet, friendly bunch.
And me? Oh, I'm just. Well, I don't have to explain who I am. I know Scott owed me now £500,000 now. I know that.
You'll have to pay you in stars, Tim.
You have to pay me instalments. Oh, stars, yes, I can get some boosts. Make more money.
Be an iron brew, how's that?
I think
Oh,
you,
God.
and none of that Monopoly money again. No, I'm just going to say thank you for having me on the show. Appreciate
Yes,
it.
thank you.
Thank
I'm
you.
gonna
It's
say
been fun.
Who I am. Got it written down the bottom somewhere. There you go.
You find him in Ghosted UK. Don't
Yeah.
because he's a
Yeah.
walking disaster, folks. He really is.
Don't follow them. They're a bunch of morons.
Right.
Useless. They yabber too much.
I'll keep a hold of you for a wee sec after we come off, folks, so don't disappear on me. So that's us for tonight. Where we go coming up? We're back Monday with Lanarkshire Paranormal, and then we're out doing filming next week. But the following week we have the Paranormal Consultant coming in, and Nighthawk Paranormal, and then the 13th of May to the 50th, that weekend we have Rosine and Wonderland. She's coming up to Scotland.
Wow.
And we're going to be doing a lot of investigating with Rosine. We're going to be out and about, weather permitting. And that's us. So thanks for joining us, folks. I hope you enjoyed the last 2.5 hours. I didn't realise it was that long.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
So what?
Bye.
Take care for now. All right.
Yeah.
Take
Cheers,
care.
one adult.
Look after yourself.
Bye. Bye.
Bye, Laura.
Bye.